Hello, everyone, and welcome to another script reading. My name is Curtis. I will be the host of this script reading. Tonight, we are reading Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins. Um, Again, my name is Curtis. I'll be playing the role of Steve Trevor as our Wonder Woman slash Diana Prince. We've got Jessica. We got Anne up there as Dr. Poison in other roles. We got Molly as Hippolyta. We have Travis as Chief. We have Jennifer as Antiope. We have Logan as Patrick Morgan. We got George as Samir. Kate will be our scene description. And we also have Jeremy coming in later. He's going to play Charlie and Etta Candy. And we also got Erik coming in a little later. He's going to play one of our main villains, Erich Ludendorf. All right. With that said, Kate, whenever you're ready, you could start us off.
All right. Wonder Woman, based on DC characters. Fade in. The Earth, as seen from space, perfect and seemingly serene.
I used to want to save the world.
The distant sound of tribal drums as we descend planetward, circling the globe closer as the drums build.
This beautiful place.
Louder drums soaring over oceans and continents, closer.
But the closer you get, the more you see the great darkness simmering within.
Finally, we arrive in Paris, France. Exterior Louvre Museum in Paris. Early morning, the museum with its 16th century architecture and its IM glass and metal pyramids, a place where the past and the future meet. Diana Prince, in her 30s, antiquities expert, strides towards the Louvre, passing armed military at guard and alert.
And mankind? That's another story altogether.
A truck pulls up, blocking our view. Armed security officers exit, unloading a crate from Wayne Enterprises addressed to Diana Prince, curator. Interior museum corridor. Diana walks down a hallway with the Assyrian bas relief sculptures showing the good and the bad of humanity throughout history. She takes this in.
What one does faced with the truth is more difficult than you think.
Interior Museum Diana's office. Minutes later, the crate is delivered to Diana, a wall-mounted collection of ancient weaponry and Greek antiquities behind her. She eyes the Wayne Enterprises logo warily. Now alone at her desk, Diana opens the crate and looks inside, stunned. Reveal the original daguerreotype of Diana from Batman vs. Superman. She's in her Wonder Woman armor, surrounded by a band of soldiers, her friends from long ago.
I learned this the hard way, a long, long time ago. And now, I will never be the same.
She holds up the unsigned note accompanying the photo. I found the original. Maybe one day you'll tell me your story. She contemplates the faces of her friends long dead. Her eyes focus in on a man we'll soon know as Steve Trevor. She lingers on him and then drifts to herself. Surrounded by history, Diana is overwhelmed by the memory of how this photo and Wonder Woman came to be. Cut 2. Exterior army training grounds. The past, flashes of Amazons as they train for combat on various plateaus extending from the edge of the cliffs of Themyscira. The Amazons train with weapons, clashing and testing on one another to their limits. Dozens of armed female warriors, Amazons, engage in a dazzling array of training exercises. Every Amazon is an ageless beauty between 30 and 50. They spar with knives, swords, etc., practicing archery, spear throwing, and lasso from horseback. It's breathtaking. And young Diana, 8 years old, princess of Themyscira, watches it all from the edge of the field. Her eyes blaze with admiration. The demanding general oversees the Amazons. She wears a distinctive helmet. At her side, the Amazon Philippus, African, regal. Diana fixates on one Amazon in particular, fierce and powerful, Artemis. She sends her opponent to the ground, then spins to face another.
Yes, the blow was strong, but Eliana's footwork betrayed her. A battle is like a river crossing. Every step must find a safe spot.
Diana rehearses Artemis's moves, her young face set in fierce scowl. She stabs at imaginary enemies, then looks up to find Antiope staring at her from across the grounds. She's caught, but instead of hiding, she looks back. I'm ready to fight. Let me try. She shakes her head but smiles, and Diana smiles back.
Diana!
Diana freezes, then bolts, before she, Diana's long-suffering tutor, can push through the crowd.
Diana, I see you!
Exterior public square, continuous. Diana dashes through the crowded marketplace, hoping to lose her, but every Amazon whose path she crosses greets her with a smile or, "Good morning, princess." "Hello, Diana." We realize that Diana is the only child in this world. Diana races past a mural in the public square of Queen
Hippolyta.
Thank you. Thank you. That. Diana's mother, triumphantly leading the Amazons.
Diana, come back!
A young Amazon guard sees Diana coming, holds out her hand. Stop! Diana sees up a narrow stairway, grins. An escape! She darts up it and back down another straight into dead end. Looking for a way out, she sees a long jump she just might make. There's a big fall, but Diana loves a challenge. She smiles mischievously, runs in, leaps. But she's not going to make it. She stretches out, her face falling as she realizes she's missed the jump when a hand grabs her wrist. Exterior, other bridge. Dangling, Diana's pulled up to see the queen, ethereally beautiful, holding Diana easily by one arm as if Diana weighed nothing. She sits horseback, the mounted queen's guard behind her. Diana twists uneasily, smiling up at her mother.
Hello, Mother. How are you today?
How many times, Diana?
I haven't actually counted. Quite a few.
Let's get you back to school before another tutor quits.
But Mother, don't you think it's time for me to start my training?
Training? You're training?
She softens. She loves her daughter more than anything and pulls her into an embrace.
Your mind is the most powerful weapon. All battles begin here before they end here.
She motions to the world around them. Diana frowns. Antiope rides to meet them. Philip is at her side. Antiope catches Diana's hopeful eyes.
Antiope thinks I'm ready.
Does she?
Antiope approaches. Philip is respectfully keeping a distance.
I could begin showing her some things. She should at least be able to defend herself.
From whom?
In the event of an invasion.
Isn't that why I have an army at my command, General?
I pray a day will never come where she has to fight, but you, the wisest of us all, know that one cannot deny their inner nature. A scorpion must sting, a wolf must hunt.
She's a child, the only child on the island. Please let her be so.
But sister.
But Mother.
There will be no training.
Rides a crestfallen Diana away. She looks back at Antiope, who nods at Diana pointedly. Interior palace, Diana's bedchamber, night. The queen attempts to tuck a wide-awake Diana into bed.
What if I promised to be careful?
It's time to sleep.
What if I didn't use a sword?
Fighting doesn't make you a hero.
Just a shield then, no sharp edges.
Diana, you are the most precious thing in the world to me. So much so, I sculpted you from clay myself and begged Zeus to give you life.
You've told me that story.
Then I will tell you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Here you go.
Sorry. Queen steps away and removes a golden bound. My screen is blocked off. I can't see what it is. But golden bound something.
Then I will tell you a new one. One of our people in my days of battle.
Diana's face lights up, but the queen raises her voice to correct her mood.
So you will finally understand why war is nothing to hope for.
Queen slowly unfolds the large triptych, revealing an elaborate painting illustrating the history of the Amazons.
Long ago, when time was new and all of history was still a dream, the gods ruled the earth, Zeus king among them.
Pushed in as the painting seems to come alive, subtly animates. Lightning and thunder herald the arrival of Zeus atop Olympus, surrounded by the pantheon of gods.
Zeus created beings over which the gods would rule, beings born in his image, fair and good, strong and passionate. Zeus called his creation man, and mankind was good.
Another flash of lightning reveals mankind.
But one grew envious of Zeus's love for mankind and sought to corrupt his creation.
The painting seems to come alive again. Ares features hidden shadow beneath the fearsome horned helmet.
This was Ares, the god of war.
The sky splits open and fire rains from the heavens. Men take up arms, falling in line around Ares, becoming his army.
Ares poisoned men's hearts with jealousy, suspicion, vengeance, and rage. He turned them against one another.
The dying and the dead litter the raging battlefield. Interior Queen's Palace, Diana's bedchamber. Back to young Diana, her eyes wide.
And war ravaged the earth.
Exterior palace. Young Diana sneaks out of the palace past her guards. Pleased with herself, she runs off into the night. Exterior secret training location. Antiope and young Diana, now dressed for training, raise their staffs. Antiope strikes gently at first, but not for long. Diana works hard to defend herself. Exterior battlefield painting. Aphrodite, goddess of love, stands beside Zeus and the other gods at the shore of the turbulent sea, waving their hands and the ocean churns. From out of the sea rises the queen, Antiope, and countless other figures, warrior women.
So the gods made us, the Amazons, to influence men's hearts with love and to restore peace to the world.
Standing behind Aphrodite on the shore, men watch the women approach in awe, lowering their weapons.
For a brief time there was peace, even a unity among the world as the gods and men fought side by side against a great evil.
An ancient war is subtly depicted but not lingered on. If one looks close, you'll see three armies, the gods, Amazons, and Atlanteans, battling Jacob, each army in possession of a lotus. Ares cleaves Jacob, then he looks to the lotus and the humans have discarded. He reaches for it.
But it did not last.
Ares' army of men swing a barrage of weapons at the queen and the Amazons, led by the god of war himself.
Ares refused to give up his hold on mankind. Tightening his grip, he turned them against us.
Ares and his army of men lead the queen and other Amazons out of the burning city in shackles and chains.
When Zeus led the gods to our defense, Ares killed them one by one.
Ares grabs Apollo from behind, slitting his throat. Elsewhere, he assassinates Aphrodite. Elsewhere, Hermes.
Until only Zeus himself remained.
The queen breaks the chains between her bracelets.
Your mother, the Amazon queen, led a revolt that freed us all from enslavement.
The queen leads the Amazons into battle against Ares, swinging her sword. A feral cheetah fights at her side. Exterior woods. Young Diana mimics her mother in battle, thrusting her wooden sword as she runs.
While Zeus used the last of his power to stop Ares.
Exterior battlefield. Ares and Zeus clash in the eye of the storm, each at the edge of death. Zeus throws his last thunderbolt, hitting Ares.
Striking him such a blow, the god of war was forced to retreat.
Ares staggers back. A large gash at his chest leaks violent blue power. He's swallowed up by darkness.
With Zeus's dying breath, he created this island to shield us from the outside world, somewhere Ares could not find us.
Exterior secret training location. Day. Antiope attacks. Young Diana tries to keep up, and Antiope's surprise and satisfaction, she does.
But in the event he did, Zeus left us a weapon, one powerful enough to kill a god, to destroy Ares before he could destroy mankind and us with an endless war.
Exterior scenic overlook. The queen and young Diana look across their island home. Queen smiles, ending her story, but Diana looks out across the oceans, wondering if Ares is still out there.
We give thanks to the gods for this paradise.
And the god killer?
Queen isn't sure what Diana is referring to.
The god killer?
Yes, the weapon that could kill Ares if he ever finds us. May I see it, Mother?
Queen's conflicted by Diana's excitement. A beat, and then she nods. Diana is elated. Exterior Armory. The Queen and young Diana ride their horses to the Armory, a heavily guarded keep at the top of the town's hillside. The Queen's guard follows. Diana's eyes drift up at the high tower with a single window. Interior Armory. Young Diana follows the Queen down a torch-lit tunnel and into the open-air center, one high window.
This is where we keep all the gifts the gods have given us.
Diana's eyes drift past a dazzling array of items, including a glowing golden girdle lasso, and at the center, the ornately crafted sword. Diana gently touches the hilt of the sword in awe.
God killer. It's beautiful.
The Queen watches her carefully.
Who would wield it?
I pray that there will never come a time when it's called to arms, but only the fiercest among us ever could. That is not you, Diana.
She takes Diana's hand away from the sword.
So you see, my daughter, you are safe, and it is nothing for you to concern yourself with.
But Diana is determined to prove her mother wrong. Exterior secret training location. Swords clash. Young Diana, now 12, continues to train, more skilled, stronger, but not yet the warrior she will one day be. As Antiope pushes her,
You're doubting yourself.
No, I'm not.
Antiope swings, the swords clashing. Young Diana loses her footing, falling to the ground.
Yes, you are, but you're stronger than you believe.
Diana!
The Queen rides towards them. Her guards follow. The Queen climbs down, furious. She checks her daughter for injury.
Mother, I'm fine. I was just...
Training. It seems I'm not the revered queen I should be. Disobeyed, betrayed by my own sister.
Mother, it was me. I asked her to.
Take her to the palace.
Crestfallen, young Diana is led away by the Queen's guards. She locks eyes with Antiope as she leaves.
You left me no choice, Hippolyta. You neglect your duty if she cannot fight.
You speak of a time that may never come. He may never return. He could have died from his wounds.
Antiope raises her voice to meet the Queen's for the first time in 3,000 years.
You think I don't wish that were true? You feel it in your bones just as I do. Ares is still alive. He is out there, and it is only a matter of time before he returns.
The stronger Diana gets.
Nobody wants this less than I. I love her as you do. But this is the only way to truly protect her.
The Queen's pained eyes look away, pause for a beat, and then return to meet Antiope's with a steely stare.
She is to never know the truth about what she is or how she came to be. You will train her harder than every Amazon before her.
Hippolyta.
5 times harder, 10 times harder. You will train her until she is unconquerable.
After a beat, Antiope nods. Smash cut to exterior training grounds. An Amazon rolls across the ground with a bow and arrow, rising up and letting the arrow fly. It's Diana. She's now fully grown, striking and formidable with a sly smile. The arrow hits the target dead center and she moves on. Antiope nods to Diana to look across the audience of Amazons and up to the hillside, where the Queen has arrived on horseback. Diana grins, drawing her sword. Diana moves through and over obstacles where she faces off against one of Antiope's guards, African, using her shield, bracelets, and sword. Then Artemis joins, Diana now taking on 2 Amazons and excited for the challenge. Diana dispatches Antiope's guards. The Amazon's brawler, Artemis, bares her teeth and attacks with no mercy, striking Diana hard. Artemis is fierce, revered by the other Amazons. Diana blocks the next blow, then sends Artemis crashing to the muddy ground at the feet of the other Amazons. The Amazons step back from Artemis, humiliated. Artemis scowls. Diana grins. Then Antiope and Diana go into battle, warriors in violent, graceful combat. Antiope feels her holding back.
Come on, Diana, you're stronger than this.
Diana attacks Antiope with a strength previously unseen. The Amazons watch with awe, even the Queen. Unrelenting, Diana strikes hard, again and again, until she knocks Antiope's sword out of her hands. Cocky, Diana points the sword to Antiope, who holds her hands in surrender. Proud. Diana nods, lowering the sword. She's won. Diana turns to her mother, looking for approval, but wham! Out of nowhere, Antiope sends Diana to the ground with a brutal blow. Not so fun anymore. Diana takes a breath, recovering. The queen watches from the hill.
Get up, Diana.
Diana glances at Antiope. It was a dirty move, but Antiope faces off against her.
Never let your guard down. Your opponents will have no honor. They will strike at you from behind. They will attack without provocation.
Antiope knocks Diana's sword aside.
Show me the Amazon that you are. Or was I wrong to put such faith in you?
Pushed to her limit, Diana brings both arms up, then slams her bracelets together. Whoosh! The field of energy emanates from Diana's core. We get the sense that this is just the beginning of her true power. Still, it's powerful enough to knock Antiope off her feet. Diana stumbles back. Diana, amazed and elated, realizes that something unbelievable has happened. A tiny golden spark in her eye quickly fades. Diana's ecstatic, scared and confused. She looks at her mother. Did you see that? But the queen is worried about the implications of Diana's power, and Diana mistakes it for judgment.
What have you done?
Diana looks to Antiope, blood streaming from the cut to the head. Diana rushes to her side.
I'm sorry.
She holds up her hand.
Stay back.
Diana looks at the other Amazons, who all stare back in silence, even Artemis, then back to her mother's forlorn face, filled with fear. Diana slowly takes a step away, feeling frightened, guilty, rejected. And Diana runs. A cold wind blows across the hill. Fear falls on the queen's face, taking in Diana's actions. Exterior cliff. Diana races up a grassy embankment to a cliff overlooking the ocean. She looks down at her open palms and clenches them shut. What was that? Then, an unfamiliar sound, a strange, gnawing buzz. Diana looks upward, quickly spotting a shape on the horizon, moving closer. Something she has never seen before. A German warplane. Fokker out of control, trailing smoke. Diana's sharp gaze catches sight of someone in the cockpit, struggling to escape. The plane dives down, crashing into the water. Without hesitation, Diana dives off the cliff, hurtling hundreds of feet through the air and into the sea. Exterior, underwater, the plane sinks, its pilot already underwater. He struggles to break free from the cockpit, but his messenger bag is caught. A loud creak pierces the water. The pilot looks up to see a deep fissure running along the tail. It breaks free and the engine and cockpit sink like stones. As he sinks, he loses breath, the light fading. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Diana appears on the plane's tail, above the surface. The sun blazes, framing her in epic vision like an angel. The pilot blinks into the light one last time, the dark depths closing in on his face as his eyes fall shut. Diana dives in and grabs the pilot. She braces her feet against the plane and rips him away, kicking to the surface. Exterior surface. Diana surfaces with the pilot swimming effortlessly to shore, unaware that behind them, a World War I German battle cruiser and its 3 landing craft head towards the island. Exterior German battle cruiser deck. A German commander stares into the thick fog with field glasses, his lieutenant at his side, bewildered.
Where did the fog come from?
And the plane.
Exterior German-led landing craft 1. German soldier spots something, pointing.
There.
Landing craft 1 steers through the fog towards the Fokker's tail section, still afloat. Exterior German landing craft. German soldier reaches out over the side and his hand disappears in a blinding reflection like fractal shards of light hitting a mirror. He briefly sees a flash of beautiful island. Startled, he jolts back, the image vanishing into the fog. He leans back out, and there it is again, beyond the protective ring of fog and reefs, an island, and Diana swimming the pilot towards the beach. Stunned, he leans inboard, once again enshrouded in a foggy, cold, gray day.
The pilot, he's there?
Tillerman is skeptical, but slowly turns the boat. Exterior beach. Diana drags the pilot onto the beach, his bag around his shoulder. She gently lays him on the sand and gets her first real look at the first man she's ever seen. His mouth, lips, jaw, hair, stubble, captivating. This is Captain Steve Trevor in his 30s, rugged, handsome, American fighter pilot undercover for the British. Steve wakes, squinting in the sun, surprised to discover Diana's not a hallucination. He takes in the strange surroundings, blown back by her breathtaking beauty.
Wow.
She backs away as he sits up, surprised by the timbre of his voice. Diana studies his eyes. They're so blue.
You're a man.
Yes, I mean, yeah. Do I not look like a... Where am I?
You're on the Mascara.
Am I? Say it again?
Who are you?
They're cut off by the ear-splitting sounds of scraping metal. Diana and Steve turn to see the German battlecruiser running around on the protective reef around the island.
I'm one of the good guys. And those are the bad guys.
The wounded battlecruiser sinks, but her 3 German landing craft steam towards the beach.
You know, Germans.
Germans.
Gotta get out of here.
Diana!
Diana and Steve look up to the cliffs to see battle-ready Queen on horseback, with the Queen's Guard all with arrows pointed directly at Steve.
Stay away from her. Now!
Where are the guns?
Another wave of guardswomen arrive behind the Queen on horseback, aiming arrows at the German ships.
Do they only have arrows? We need guns. Because Germans have guns. Lots and lots of...
A torrent of flaming arrows sail from the cliff top over Diana's and Steve's head, hitting all 3 landing craft. The Germans fire back in retaliation.
Down!
Steve pulls Diana behind a rock formation, out of sight of the invading Germans now fanning out across the beach. More Amazons join the others on the cliff, led by Orana. Orana shoots the grappling arrow into the rock wall of the opposite cliff. She swings down the attached line towards the beach, firing arrow after arrow at the Germans. On the beach, Diana and Steve watch her, stunned. Diana turns as a soldier lifts his rifle and fires. She sees the bullet leave the gun, heading straight for her in slow motion. Steve tackles Diana, pushing her to the ground as the bullet just misses her. Diana's heightened senses allow her to see the bullet sailing past. She's confused by what she's seeing, until it hits Orana. Diana is gasped as she falls back the grappling line, her lifeless body swinging against the cliff wall.
No!
Head down!
The Germans continue to fire at the Amazons atop the cliff, several of whom plummet to their deaths on the beach below. Orana's slayer squints down his rifle's eyesight. Wonk! An arrow now sprouts from the rifle barrel. A stampede of horsewomen ride through the massive stone archway onto the beach. The Amazon cavalry, led by Antiope. She and Malippe and Artemis at her side, blocks bullets with her shield and cuts through Germans with her sword, trampling them beneath her horse's feet. Steve crawls out, seeing a soldier taking cover behind a rock nearby.
Stay here.
A glint of a knife in Steve's hand as he leaps on the soldier, dragging him down, then quickly reappearing, shooting a rifle. Diana grabs the sword and shield of a fallen sister and joins in the battle. She's quickly surrounded, but holds her own, fending off a swarm of Germans.
Omicron formation.
Antiope's team organizes into formation, working together but still overwhelmed until the Queen arrives on the beach, joining the battle in spectacular fashion. She slashes through the Germans like no other Amazon, proving why she is queen. Diana is in awe of her mother. It's the first time she's witnessed her fight. Antiope finds relief as the Queen joins her side. The 2 sisters fight back to back, wiping out all but 5 Germans.
Shield.
Steve watches as Menelippe takes her shield with both hands, holds it parallel to the ground. Antiope dismounts, runs at her, then jumps onto the shield, springing high into the air. One of the 5 remaining Germans raises his rifle to fire at Antiope, but Steve shoots him first, saving Antiope's life, which is not lost on Diana. At the height of her mid-air arc, Antiope fires 3 arrows at once, eliminating all but 1 remaining German, who raises his gun at Diana.
Diana!
Steve aims at the soldier as he fires, but Antiope steps in front of her knees, taking the bullet. She falls to the ground. Steve fires and the German falls too.
Antiope!
The noise, the battle, everything falls away as Diana races to Antiope's side.
No. Please, no.
Diana races to her, dying, struggling to speak.
Diana, the time has come. You must.
What? Antiope!
The god killer. Diana, go.
Go away. Antiope, no!
The queen rushes to Diana, falling to her knees in front of Antiope's lifeless body.
Sister!
Antiope stills. Diana's devastated. Her first experience of death. Bilbus looks on, saddened. The queen grabs her sword and turns to Steve.
You!
Diana rushes between them.
Mother, no! He fought at my side against the invaders.
Typical. The man fights against his own people.
They weren't my people.
Then why do you wear their colors?
I'm not at liberty to say.
What is your name?
I can't tell you that either.
We should kill him right now and be done with it.
Bilbus talks calm despite her friend's death.
He dies now and we know nothing about what they came here and who they are.
Ladies, I'm sorry. I can only tell you one thing about me. I'll never talk.
Interior palace, throne room, later. Steve's overcome by an unseen force. He struggles.
Name? Captain Steve Trevor. Pilot. American Expeditionary Forces. Serial number 812-1941. Does all liberties.
Reveal. Steve, bleeding from injuries sustained in battle, bound by a glowing golden lasso controlled by Penelope. Diana and the queen, battle-weary, watch him. With them the queen's guards, what's left of Antiope's guards, and Senator Acantha in her 50s. Steve strains to keep his mouth shut. He can't.
Second, to British intelligence. What the hell is this thing anyway?
The lasso of Hestia compels you to reveal the truth.
It is pointless and painful to resist.
What is your mission?
Whoever you are, you're in enough danger as it is. You shouldn't.
What is your mission?
I'm a spy.
Cut to flashback. Exterior military installation. Ottoman Empire. Steve, in his German pilot's uniform, stands on an airship next to several other pilots and planes.
British intelligence got word that the leader of the German army, General Ludendorf, was visiting a secret military installation in the Ottoman Empire.
Steve's point of view following General Ludendorf as he and his troops enter a large, nondescript warehouse.
I posed as one of their pilots, then flew in with them.
Interior military installation, factory, laboratory. Steve follows the others into the warehouse.
According to our intel, the Germans had no troops left, no money, no munitions of any kind.
Steve discovers this is an immense munitions factory manned by elderly men, women, and children, all of whom appear to be slave labor for the Germans in the mass production of bombs.
Our intel was wrong. The Germans had the Turks making bombs for them, and not just bombs.
Ludendorff approaches a scientist wearing a head-to-toe protective gear. Removing mask and goggles, we meet the stunningly beautiful Dr. Maru, 40s. She finishes writing a chemical formula in a notebook. She turns, greets Ludendorff with respect and confidence.
New weapons invented by Ludendorff's chief psychopath, Dr. Isabel Maru.
Steve can't help but stare admiringly, until Maru turns her head, revealing metal plates in her face, hiding damage incurred by her own experience.
Boys in the trenches call her Dr. Poison.
Maru leads Ludendorff to her lab, a fully enclosed test chamber with a viewing window. In the chamber, Steve sees a gruesome sight. A prisoner, his terrified face covered by a gas mask. His wrists and ankles stretched out and restrained by chains. Another chain leads from the top of the prisoner's gas mask. Out of earshot, Steve watches as Maru shows Ludendorff the formulas in her notebook, explaining them. Maru closes the notebook and sets it down, then releases glowing gas into the chamber. Panicked, the prisoner's terrified eyes widened. Muffled screams cry out behind the gas mask. Enraptured, Maru puts a hand against the window. Her anxious eyes follow the smoke filling the chamber. It has to work this time. Ludendorf watches, waiting. Steve looks on in horror as the prisoner's gas mask begins to show slight signs of disintegration. Thin cracks in the glass, wear in the straps, corrosion on the metal. Maru isn't even aware she's grinning, but then the prisoner realizes the gas mask is resisting the gas, protecting him. He calms. Maru's face falls. Her eyes dart to Ludendorf, who shows obvious signs of disappointment. Steve watches as a frustrated Dr. Maru pulls a lever, and a chain connected to the prisoner's gas mask tears the mask off, exposing him to what's left of the gas. The panicked prisoner screams in pain as he breathes in, dying horribly. Steve can barely watch. He glances away, and his eyes lock on Maru's notebook.
From what I saw, if Dr. Maru was able to complete her work, millions would die. The war would never end. I had to do something.
Steve makes a decision. Knowing it could cost him his life, he grabs the notebook.
Damn it.
Maru turns and sees her notebook gone. She looks around just in time to see Steve leaving. They lock eyes briefly as he exits. Exterior military installation airstrip. An alarm blares as Steve, pursued by a dozen German soldiers, runs to a Fokker props already rotating. Exterior sky above the military installation. Steve's plane takes off, but he doesn't fly away. Instead, he doubles back towards the warehouse where Ludendorf and Maru escape in a military vehicle. Interior, Steve uses the Fokker's 12-barrel rotary cannon to fire on Ludendorff's vehicle, but it gets away. Steve trains the gun on the evacuated military installation's glass roof, whose workers have just evacuated. He strafes it, taking all of the glass panes before dropping hand bombs into the complex. The factory explodes in a fireball as he flies off the sky. End flashback. Interior palace throne room. Steve tries to resist the lasso again, but can't.
I was on my way back to London when the Germans shot me down.
Steve's eyes firmly on his bag at the Queen's feet. Diana removes Dr. Maru's notebook.
But if I can get those notes to British intelligence in time, it might make a difference. Stop millions more from dying. Stop the war.
War? What war?
The war to end all wars. 4 years, 27 nations, 25 million dead, soldiers and civilians.
Steve swallows hard, forced by the lasso to reveal all. Not just the facts, but also his feelings about them.
Innocent people, women, children, slaughtered, their homes, villages, looted, burned. Weapons deadlier, more horrifying than you can imagine. Like nothing I've ever seen is like the world's going to end.
Steve's head hangs low. Diana looks at him with sympathy and sadness.
Take him to the infirmary.
Diana tenses, clearly shaken by this. Exterior palace courtyard. Diana follows the Queen to the cortege into the courtyard, trying to lend voice to their debate.
Should we let him go?
And risk him bringing more men to our shores, Philippus?
Mother.
We can't hold him forever, my queen.
Excuse me, Mother, but after everything the man said, this must be Ares.
They all stop and face Diana.
What are you talking about, child?
Forgive me, Senator Acantha, but the man called it a war without end. Millions of people already dead, like nothing he's ever seen. Only Ares could do such a thing. We cannot simply let him go. We must go with him.
We are not deploying our army and leaving Themyscira defenseless to go and fight their war.
It is not their war. Zeus created man to be just and wise, strong and passionate.
That was a story, Diana. There is much you don't know. Mankind is easily corrupted.
But Ares is behind that corruption. It is Ares who has these Germans fighting, and stopping the god of war is our foreordinance.
We must care to our wounded, honor our fallen.
Themyscira has seen death for the first time, Mother. Ares must not be allowed to threaten us again. We know only too well what happens if he finds us, and he will. Never again shall we be enslaved, and now mankind must be freed. As Amazons, this is our duty.
You are not an Amazon like the rest of us, Diana.
That strikes Diana in the heart. The Queen stops herself from revealing more, covering.
You don't know war like we do.
You may be afraid to face Ares, mother, but I am not.
Afraid? You know nothing of fear, child, nothing of war, nothing of pain, nothing of sacrifice. You will do nothing. Your queen forbids it.
Diana leaves, brimming with anger. The Queen with conflict. Interior infirmary. A peon, a skilled healer, stitches up a wound on Diana's arm. Diana doesn't flinch. Is it true you saved his life?
Who told you that?
He did. What will the Queen do with him? Will she kill him? Off Diana, wondering herself. Interior infirmary, Steve's room. Diana enters to find Steve stepping out of a tub, his back to her, naked. She studies his body as he towels himself dry. Steve's shoulder has been bandaged, but his body is covered with cuts, bruises, scars, and her eyes from other battles. Diana touches her own wound, sympathetic. Steve finally turns, startled to see her there.
No. Didn't hear you come in. Didn't hear you knock.
Diana stares at him, puzzled. Steve isn't enjoying the look on her face.
Would you say you're a typical example of your sex?
Steve raises an eyebrow, slightly offended, but he doesn't cover himself.
I like to think of myself as above average.
What is that?
Steve is relieved to see that she means his pocket watch on top of his clothes.
It's a watch.
A watch.
My father gave it to me. Been through hell and back with him. And now me. And it's still ticking.
Why?
Because it tells time. So I know when to wake up, work, eat, sleep.
You let this little thing tell you what to do.
Do you mind if I ask you a couple of 100 questions? What is this place?
Themyscira.
I caught that before. I mean, what is this place? How come I never heard of it? Who the hell are you people? How do you know English?
We speak hundreds of languages. We are the bridge to a greater understanding between all men.
Funny, because I understand even less now than before you walked in.
The way Steve watches her makes Diana self-conscious.
Hey, I didn't get to say it earlier, but thanks for dragging me out of the water.
For what you did on the beach.
So, are you here to let me go?
Sorry. It's not up to me. I tried. I even asked them to send me with you.
Steve's eyes brighten. Diana backpedals in embarrassment.
Or anyone, an Amazon, the Amazons.
Is our sacred duty to the Amazons?
It is our sacred duty to defend the world, and I wish to go, but my mother will not allow it.
Which, from her tone, clearly disappoints Diana. Steve's surprised to find himself disappointed too, though his better sense tells him not to be.
Can't say I blame her. The way this war's going, I wouldn't let anyone I care about here.
Then why do you want to go back?
Steve starts dressing.
I don't think want is the word, but I've got to try. My father used to say, if you do something wrong in the world, you can either do nothing or you can do something. And you already tried nothing.
Moved, Diana takes that in, determination on her face. Exterior armory. Night. On this still moonlit night, the armory stands monolithic amongst the other buildings of the island. Diana surveys from an opposing hillside. The buildings face an impenetrable mountainside, accessible by only one main entrance, completely blocked by several guards who stand watch. And even if she could take them all on, Diana doesn't want to hurt them. Studying the building further, she focuses on the single window in the high tower. Diana's face darkens with fixed focus. She looks down at her feet, back at the space, calculating it all. She turns to the hillside behind her, spots a distant branch twisting from a tree. It looks relatively equidistant to the armory. She takes a step towards it, then another, and another. And Diana leaps into the air, locked on the branch, but she lands far before reaching it. As Diana jogs to a stop, her frown fades. I know what I know I can do this. Diana sets off in a dead sprint towards the cliffside. She leaps over the abyss below, her face calm as she soars through the night. The building barrels towards her, her eyes widen. Thinking fast, she gasps and spur, and she slams into the side, holding on. She reveals in the moment briefly, and then sobers. Now what? The window is at least 30 feet above her. Below the abyss, the wind moans. Diana's grip tightens on the spur. Suddenly, the spur cracks. Diana falls. She scrambles against the wall, her hands grasping at the stone face, shards flying all around her. She realizes she's strong enough to make her own handholds. Slam! Her hand catches and she yanks to a stop. Shocked, she hangs there for a second, then grins fiercely. She begins to climb her way straight up the stone wall, her fingers slamming into the tower, making her own ladder out of solid stone. Exterior armory rooftop. Diana flips herself up on the tiny ledge outside the window and she moves in. Interior armory. In the moonlit darkness of the deserted armory, Diana moves towards the God-Killer sword. She takes it from its scabbard, awed by its weight, its sheer power in her hands. She holds it tight. It feels right. As she leaves, she passes a suit of ancient armor and snatches its shield. Then the lasso of Hestia disappears from its hook. Diana, now half dressed in Greek armor, admires a glowing golden belt-like girdle, then looks ahead to something that really catches her eye. Blurry in our foreground, the silhouette of a woman's form glows gold, red, and blue from its display. Diana's eyes widen with delight. Interior infirmary, Steve's room. Minutes later, Diana enters, waking Steve.
Nice outfit.
Thank you. And now I will show you the way off the island, and you will take me to Ares.
Deal.
Steve grabs his watch and bag. Exterior harbor, dock. Diana and Steve on horseback emerge from the forest at the edge of the harbor. Diana and Steve turn to the front of a not very modern-looking, by 1918 standards, Amazon sailing vessel.
I'm leaving
We
that.
are.
We're leaving
You not know
that.
how to sail?
Of course I know how to sail. When I be able to sail? Since I was a kid.
She nods and motions to the boat with encouragement.
Then there's nothing to be afraid of.
Steve still hesitates.
What?
Steve nods at the valley behind them, where the Queen and the Queen's Guard thunder on their horses. The Queen raises her hand, orders her guards to halt. She approaches Diana alone. Diana takes a breath, reluctantly meeting her mother's eyes, dreading this.
I can't stand by while innocent lives are lost. If no one else will defend the world from Ares, I must. I have to go.
I know.
Diana finds not fury on her mother's face, but sadness.
Or at least, I know that I cannot stop you. There is so much you still don't understand.
I understand enough. That I'm willing to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, like you once did.
You know that if you choose to leave us, you may never return. Once you leave this island, its location will fade from your memory.
Queen relents, nodding. She climbs down from her horse, taking something from the saddle. She presents Diana with Antiope's headband.
This belonged to the greatest warrior in our history. Make sure you're worthy of it.
I will.
She hands it to her daughter.
Be careful in the world of men, Diana. They do not deserve you.
The Queen tries to memorize her daughter's face, believing that's the last time she'll ever see it.
You have been my greatest love, and today you're my greatest sorrow.
Diana walks away from her mother and the only home she's ever known, towards Steve and the ship. The weight of this goodbye doesn't go unnoticed by Steve. Exterior sailing vessel. Diana looks back towards the island, her whole world until now. Exterior shoreline. Penelope approaches, joining the Queen's side. Should you have told her?
The more she knows, the faster he will find her.
Exterior sailing vessel. A breeze moves through Diana's hair as she takes a breath, watching the island drift away, and in a sudden flicker of fog, it's gone. Bittersweet, she eyes Steve at the tiller. He looks at his watch, still ticking, then pockets it.
How long until we reach the war?
War? On which part? The eastern front in France is 400 miles long. from the Alps to the Atlantic. Then there's the Dolomites in Italy, Turks in Arabia. There used to be a Russian front, but they quit last year so they could kill the Tsar and have a revolution.
Where the fighting is most intense, then. If you take me there, I'm sure I will find who I'm looking for.
Who's that?
Ares.
Ares. As in the god of war?
The god of war is our responsibility. Only an Amazon can defeat him. With this.
Diana points the sword at Steve. He holds his hands up.
And once I do, the war will end.
Steve gently pushes the sword away from him. He would normally refute this outright, but after all he's seen today, he's turned upside down.
Look, princess, I like your spirit, and maybe you know something I don't. But this war is so sprawling. There's nothing the two of us can do about it. But we can try to get the men who can.
I am the man who can, and after I find and destroy Ares, the German armies will be freed from his influence, and they will be good men again.
I'm starting to understand why your mother didn't want you to leave. How much do you really know about the rest of the world?
The world of men? I know all there is to know about them, from the great books.
Steve can't tell whether she's joking or not.
The great books. Those books explain why there are no men on that island, or kids.
I was raised on the island.
Just you? Altered upbringing.
My mother sculpted me from clay. I was brought to life by Zeus.
Oh, well, that's not how babies are made where I come from.
Diana turns to Steve, moving closer. The tension between them palpable. Diana gets close.
You refer to reproductive biology.
I refer to more than that.
Ah, the pleasures of the flesh.
Steve gets closer.
You know about that?
Of course. I read all 12 volumes of Cleo's treatises on bodily pleasure.
Oh, 12, huh? Yeah. Bring any of them with you?
Steve moves closer to Diana and she grins.
You would not enjoy them. They came to the conclusion that men are essential for procreation, but when it comes to pleasure, unnecessary.
Steve gives Diana a look that seems to suggest he'd challenge that. Diana takes that look in for a split second, then turns away, self-conscious. Steve does the same, and they sail on. Exterior hangar in Belgium, Dr. Maru's laboratory. General Ludendorf marches towards the hangar that's become Dr. Maru's new factory. He's followed by a captain and his guards. Ludendorf does not look happy despite the hustle and bustle of workers.
How long till we are operational?
2 days, sir.
You have it till tonight, Captain.
Sir, their men have no food, no sleep.
You think I've had food or rest, Captain? Do you hear me making excuses? Your men are weak, complacent. You've spoiled them. You've had them forget that an attack can come at any time, from any quarter. So let's you and I remind them, shall we?
Ludendorff shoots the captain, making an example of him. His body thuds to the ground. Interior hangar. Ludendorff walks into Maru's new lab in mid-construction. Barrels of chemicals and equipment line the hangar. Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's lab. Maru furiously works, looking at the chemicals, her formulas, writing in a new notebook. She's at a crossroads. She stops, stuck, when Ludendorff approaches.
Doctor, are you making progress?
Not enough. It's over, General. Germany is giving up. Von Hindenburg has recommended the Kaiser sign the armistice. We have run out of time.
Once the Kaiser sees your newest weapon, you would never sign the armistice.
But without my book!
Ludendorff turns to Maru and gazes at her.
We will get your book, but I believe in you, not it. I know that you can and you will succeed. It is what you are put on this earth to do.
The way he says it, as if he were God himself.
Something did come to me last night for you.
It's been a long journey. I need.
Dr. Maru pulls out a metal case, produces a glass capsule full of blue gas.
A different type of gas to restore your strength.
General Ludendorff takes the capsule, examines it.
And to make you into the god you are.
He breaks the capsule under his nose, inhales. His veins glow as he breathes in. He stands taller, re-energizes, confident. His hand holds a gun and crushes it. A strange wind blows across Maru. She turns, as if she can hear a voice, and then she grins.
General, I have it. And if it is what I think it's going to be, terrible.
A war will swallow this world forever.
The horn and bells of steamship. Exterior sailing vessel. Diana wakes to find an enormous steamship, its horn blaring, towing off their boat into the harbor. She blinks, never having seen anything like it.
Good morning. We got lucky. Caught our ride. In good time.
Over Steve's shoulder, Diana gets her first eye-popping view of industrialized London, circa 1918.
Welcome to jolly old London.
Diana, awestruck, takes in the city's skyline.
It's hideous.
Not for everyone.
Exterior Piccadilly Circus in London. Diana, eyes wide, takes in the cobblestone streets. Overdressed people, a horse-drawn carriage, newsstands shout out headlines of war and votes for women. These are all first for Diana, as she seems fascinated by them. To her, this is the world of good men. She looks through various store windows with wonder. She moves past a bakery, breathing in the wonderful smell. A horseless carriage honks. Diana watching it drive by, moving out of its way, but with a smile.
Diana!
Steve is working up to keep up with Diana. She sees something she can barely fathom. A man and a woman holding hands, very much in love. It's captivating.
Why are they holding hands?
Well, because they're together.
Diana takes Steve's hand. He lets it go.
No, we're not together. I mean, like that. Look, we need to go this way.
Because this is the way to the war?
Technically, that's the way.
Then where are we going?
I have to get this notebook to my superior.
I let you go. You take me to Ares. We made a deal, Steve Trevor. A deal is a promise. A promise is unbreakable.
Oh, boy. Okay. Damn it. Now, come with me. To deliver this, then we'll talk about getting you a train ticket.
Someone glares at Steve's clothes, the remains of a German pilot.
I need change. And you?
People stare at Diana, her cloak open, revealing her armor. She smiles and nods. Hello? They back away. Steve tries to keep her cloak closed, but he can't help but take a second glance at her leg.
What are you doing?
We need to get you some
Why?
clothes. Because you aren't wearing any.
Diana, confused, looks down at her armor, then looks around at the mostly overdressed women on the street.
What do these women wear into battle?
Well, women don't exactly.
Diana's eyes snap to a young mother holding a baby.
A baby!
The mother looks at Diana quite oddly. Steve takes Diana gently by the arm and nods to the mother and keeps moving.
And that one wasn't made out of clay.
They move on, both unaware that they're being followed by a man in a suit.
It's true, you're alive.
Exterior Selfridge and Company. Etta Candy, Steve's loyal, cheeky secretary, spies Steve and Diana walking towards her.
Well, thank God for that. I thought you were dead this time. I really did. Then I got your call. He was gone for weeks. Not a word. Very unlike him.
Etta extends a hand to Diana. Diana just looks at it.
Hello, I'm Etta Candy, Captain Trevor's secretary.
What is a secretary?
Well, it means I do everything. I go wherever he goes, do whatever he tells me to do.
Where I'm from, that's called slavery.
Oh, I like this one. It does rather feel like that sometimes, but the pay's good and he's almost never here.
Eyes Diana's clothing.
We've got our work cut out for us, huh?
We follow Diana in. Interior Selfridge and Company. Diana examines a corset tied on a mannequin, Etta and Steve with her.
Is this what passes for armor in your country?
Of a sort. It's fashion keeps our tummies in.
Why must you keep them in?
Only a woman with no tummy would ask that question.
Etta holds up an outfit for Diana.
Conservative, but not entirely unfun.
Diana looks at Steve as if to say, do I have to?
At least try it on.
Diana sighs, then starts to take off her cloak. Etta's eyes go wide. She rushes to stop Diana from removing it.
Oh my, aren't you terribly cold out here where everyone can see everything? Let's get you into a nice warm private dressing room, shall we?
Etta leads Diana off, looking to Steve as if to say, where did you find this woman? Interior Selfridge and Company, woman's wear, moments later. Diana in the first outfit, frilly and silly, stands in front of the mirror, miserable. It's ridiculous. Diana pulls the dress up, wondering aloud.
How could a woman possibly fight in this?
We fight with our principles. It's how we got the vote.
She winks at Diana, who relates to principled fighting.
Now that I'm opposed, not that I'm opposed to engaging in a bit of fisticuffs when the situation calls for it, mind you.
Interior women's wear, Diana's second outfit, a tight skirt and top. Etta admires it.
There we are, very nice.
Diana tries to kick, impossible in this dress. It rips. She shakes her head at Etta. This dress won't do. Interior women's wear, third outfit, almost exactly what Etta wears. Yanks at its high collar impatiently.
It's so itchy, and it's choking me.
I can't say that I blame it.
Interior Selfridge and Company, moments later. Steve walks up to Etta. He's now dressed in his suit.
Where is she?
Trying on outfit number 2. 26. It's a lot.
Diana emerges from the dressing room in a fashionable women's dress that, on any other woman, would be unremarkable. On Diana, it's spectacular.
Why is everyone staring? Is it because I can barely breathe in this?
Diana shifts uncomfortably, self-conscious, and disliking the restrictions. Steve, catching himself staring, snaps out of it.
The whole point was to make her less conspicuous.
Steve looks around at the store, grabs a pair of glasses. He gently puts the glasses on her face and looks satisfied.
Really, Steve? All it takes is a pair of specs and suddenly she's not the most beautiful woman you've ever seen.
Diana looks into the mirror, takes a deep breath, and settles into the dress. She smiles as she fixes her glasses. Exterior. Diana, hair up in her glasses and new outfit, pushes through the door as Diana Prince. The man in the suit from earlier holds it open for her.
You.
Etta follows Diana and Steve out with the shopping bags. Diana tucks the lasso into the inside of her coat.
Right then, I'll take the rest of this. Good luck. I'll take these back to the office and meet you both later.
Etta goes for Diana's sword, but Diana yanks it back.
Really doesn't go with the outfit.
She'll be safe. You can trust her. I don't think we're going to run into Ares at the meeting.
Diana reluctantly lets Etta take the sword along with the shopping bags, presumably carrying her armor.
Please, protect it with your life.
Who wouldn't?
Exterior street. Diana and Steve walk down the street. The suited man from earlier follows them. He's suddenly distracted by the reappearance of the suited man from earlier, who confers with a second suited man.
Come on.
What is it?
Hopefully nothing.
Steve leads Diana down a less populated street. Diana sees suit number 1 and suit number 2 tracking them on opposite sides of the street. Steve, distracted, bumps right into the third suited man and looks down to find a gun aimed at his gut.
And Trevor, I believe you have something that is the property of General Ludendorf.
Exterior alleyway. The third man backs Steve and Diana into an alleyway where 2 more men wait. Now all 5 of the suited men gather. 3 of them have their guns on Diana and Steve.
Quite a reception.
Give us Dr. Maru's notebook.
Steve steps in front of Diana, searching his jacket.
Oh, where did I put that thing?
At which point, Steve kicks the gun out of the third man's hands, hitting him into the 2 others holding guns. Steve holds his arm up, protecting Diana.
Stay behind me.
Second suited man fires. Steve pushes Diana out of the bullet's path, but Diana reaches out. The bullet bounces off her bracelet. Everyone freezes with astonishment, as Diana realizes her bracelets may be more than just symbolic.
Or not.
Second and third guy fire. Diana raises both bracelets, deflecting their bullets. Her technique is clumsy at first, as she gets used to the torque, impact, and sound. Steve takes out the first guy while Diana grabs the third one, and his last shot fires and lays him out with the blow. Diana deflects the last of the second man's bullets. His gun runs empty. Everyone is amazed, especially Steve.
Why did you do that?
She smiles as if to say, you ain't seen nothing yet. The remaining 3 suited men rush Steve and Diana. Diana slams her fist in the second while Steve takes on the 4th. Diana grabs the dazed man, swinging him around, crashing him into the 5th hard, and they're both down. A split second later, Steve finishes taking out the 4th. The suited men run off, leaving only the 1st behind. The first one stirs, and Diana and Steve turn to see him make a run for it.
I thought you looked suspicious.
The first suit is stomped in his tracks by Etta, wielding the god killer, shopping bags at her feet.
Where do you think you're going?
The suited man runs in the other direction, but Diana retrieves the lasso from inside her coat and uses it to pull him off his feet onto his back. As the lasso glows, Diana kneels at his side, compassionately placing her hand on his chest. In her mind, his actions are not his fault.
I'm sorry. You are clearly under his control. Let me help you get free. Tell me where he is. Where can I find Ares?
But the suited man pops a cyanide pill between his teeth before he can get an answer.
He's dead.
Diana looks at Steve and Etta, horrified. Interior War Office Building Assembly Hall. Diana follows Steve into Assembly Hall where an unruly group of men, military leaders and members of Parliament, shout down Sir Patrick Morgan in his 40s, kindly faced and a cane at his side. Diana gazes across the hall like a tourist.
Stay here.
Diana nods. A beat, and then she proceeds to follow Steve down the aisle, running her hand across the rows of chairs, nodding and smiling to the dumbfounded men staring at her.
Gentlemen, Germany is a proud nation who will never surrender. The only way to end this war and restore world peace is to negotiate an armistice.
The assembly roars objections at Sir Patrick, and Steve finds Colonel Philip Darnell in his 40s in the crowd.
Colonel.
6 colonels who are not Darnell turn their heads.
Sorry. Phil.
Darnell turns, amazed to see Steve there, alive. Steve nods towards the door, then realizes the room has gone silent. Every eye in the hall is fixed on Diana, the only woman in a room that doesn't allow women. Diana, oblivious, looks up at Sir Patrick.
Our only aim at the moment must be to achieve peace at any cost.
The crowd grumbles again about a woman's presence there as much as Sir Patrick's rhetoric. Steve takes Diana's arm and leads her out of the auditorium. Darnell follows.
Gentlemen, I beg you, please, if you'll just hear me out.
Why will they not let him speak? He's talking peace.
That's why they won't let him speak.
But if they want to stop the war, isn't that foolish? Are they fools?
Most of them.
Interior War Office Building lobby. An agitated and embarrassed Colonel Darnell makes his way to Steve and Diana, glancing at others watching him. Darnell makes his way to Steve and Diana.
Trevor, what the hell were you thinking bringing a woman into the council chamber?
Diana looks at Steve, indignant. He holds his hand up, calming Diana.
I'm sorry, sir, but the intel I brought back is very time sensitive. We were attacked by men looking for on the way here, one of Maru's notebooks. We needed to get to the cryptography, and I need an immediate audience with the generals.
You don't just rush in here like this and demand an audience with the cabinet. Cryptography takes time and...
Captain Trevor!
Sir Patrick emerges from the auditorium, making his way over to the threesome.
I heard you were lost on one of your missions, yet here you are, and you've brought a friend.
Sir Patrick smiles sweetly at Diana. She smiles back, noticing his cane.
Our deepest apologies for the interruption, sir.
Nonsense. Thanks to this young woman, the room was actually quiet enough for me to get a few words in. Sir Patrick Morgan, at your service.
Diana bows her head in return.
Diana, Princess of the Mascara.
Diana Prince. She and I worked together. She helped me get this notebook here from Maru's lab.
Steve presents the notebook. Sir Patrick takes it, understanding the implications immediately.
Dr. Poison herself. My God. I suggest we assemble the war cabinet so they can tell us more.
Darnell hesitates, then nods. Steve and Diana grateful for the assist. Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's laboratory. Tied on a gas canister. Maru turns a valve on it, adjusting the pressure. She screws the canister onto the side of the small glass chamber containing a gas mask. She locks the canister in place, then releases the gas into the chamber. Ludendorf and Maru watch as the new gas hisses in, creeping towards the gas mask, enveloping it. The mask begins to disintegrate. Thin cracks in the glass, wear on the straps, corrosion on the metal. It's just as it was before. Maru, filled with anticipation, wonders, will it work this time? It does. The gas continues, eating away at the mask. The glass cracks apart, the straps sever, the metal breaks. A sign of the pain and horror it will soon inflict. It is Maru's greatest achievement. Then even the glass chamber itself starts to shudder and crack. Maru grins, waiting until the last possible second before unleashing a single spark into the chamber, causing the highly flammable gas to combust into a burst of flames. Elated, Maru looks to Ludendorf. He nods with approval.
Congratulations, Doctor.
Off the steaming, rotting gas mask, interior War Office War Room. Steve, Darnell, Sir Patrick, General Douglas Haig, and the British War Cabinet crowd in a room, walls full of maps and photos of Ludendorf and Dr. Maru before her metal implants, and the notebook, a terrain map on the center. Diana stands near the door watching, listening. She walks to the wall of photographs.
Cryptographers had no luck. It seems like a mixture of two languages.
Diana hones in on the photographs of Ludendorf, even examining the pins holding them to the board, then looks at the notes.
Ottoman and Sumerian.
Everyone turns to look at her.
Surely someone else in this room knew that.
Who is this woman?
Darnell glares at Steve. He'd like to know that too.
She's my secretary.
Having learned what a secretary is, Diana doesn't like being called one.
And she speaks Ottoman and Sumerian.
She's a very good secretary.
See her out.
If this woman can read it, sir, we should hear what she has to say.
General takes a beat and then nods.
Thank you. The formula for a new kind of mustard gas, hydrogen base instead of sulfur.
They react gravely to this.
Gas masks would be useless against hydrogen.
The book says they plan to release this gas at the front. Front of what?
General, you have to find out where they're making this gas. Burn it to the ground. Destroy it.
Ludendorf was last seen in Belgium.
He can't be seen sending troops into German-occupied Belgium when we're negotiating their surrender.
Sir, I saw this gas with my own eyes. All the men on the front line could die on both sides unless you...
That's what soldiers do, Captain.
Diana's shocked by the callousness. Sir Patrick looks at her apologetically.
What? Would you have us abandon the front altogether?
Pull the troops out. Send me in. With some strategic support, I could take Ludendorf and his operation out myself.
Are you insane, Trevor? I can't introduce rogue elements this late into the game.
General.
Before Steve can argue further, Sir Patrick speaks up.
Now, more than ever, the armistice is of paramount importance. We must get it negotiated and signed. That is the surest way of stopping the war.
You will do nothing, Captain Trevor. That's an order.
Diana expects Steve to defy the general like she defied her mother, but...
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
Diana blinks, confused, astonished, disappointed.
I don't.
Diana, I know it's confusing.
It's not confusing. It's unthinkable.
I'm sorry. Who did you say this woman was?
She's with me. With us.
I am not with you. You would knowingly sacrifice all those lives. Do they mean less than yours? Where I come from, generals don't hide in their offices like cowards. They fight alongside their soldiers. They die on them with the battlefield.
Diana, enough. My apologies, sir.
Diana gapes at him, sickened, betrayed.
Oh, you should be ashamed. All of you.
Diana storms out. Steve and Sir Patrick exchange a look. Interior War Office lobby. Diana leaves the War Office in a rage. Steve follows.
Diana, wait.
Steve wheels on him, furious and confused.
That's your leader. How could he say that, believe that? And you? Was your duty to simply give them a book? You didn't stand your ground. You didn't fight.
There's no chance of changing his mind. Listen to me.
This is Ares, and he isn't going to allow negotiation or surrender. The millions of people you talked about, they will die. My people, they're next.
You just listen to me.
How can you call yourselves good men?
We're going anyway.
What? You mean you were lying?
Diana, I'm a spy. That's what we do. Now, are you coming or not?
How do I know you're not lying to me right now?
Steve grabs a hold of Diana's lasso, wraps it around his wrist, and looks right into her eyes.
I'm taking you to the front. And we're probably going to die.
Steve's surprised that last part came up. Diana's skeptical.
You have no faith in yourself.
This is a terrible idea. Come on. We're going to get to the front on our own. We're going to need reinforcements.
Exterior pub. London, night. Steve and Diana move towards the shady pub. Diana squints, doesn't like the look of this place. Interior British pub. Diana follows Steve into the seedy, dim-lit pub. She gets a look at its rough and tumble clientele and frowns.
These are the reinforcements. Are these even good men?
Relatively good.
Relative to what?
Steve and Diana move behind a group of officers out slumming. One of them, Samir in his 30s, dashing, exotic, has been holding court.
In Africa, gentlemen, we had no such luxuries.
The officers laugh, agree, as Steve and Diana approach.
But the luxuries we have now, it's like we can't stop making money. My uncle, the prince, and I will keep it all, but we want to extend the opportunity to a few good soldiers.
Which prince was that? Let me talk to you, Prince Madras Angora Kashmir.
Samir turns and glares. Samir smiles to the men around him. Forgive my rude friend, and excuses himself.
I've been greasing these peacocks all night. Goodness gracious, that's a work of art.
Samir, this is Diana.
Diana studies the man with suspicion, and rightly so. He, meanwhile, is infatuated with her, all charm and smiles.
Diana, call me Sammy, please.
Sammy, please.
Yelling off-screen, two men are having an argument that threatens to boil over. They tune it out as...
Samir's a top undercover man. Can talk the skin off a cat in as many languages as you.
Diana speaks Spanish.
He doesn't look that impressive to me.
You do to me, your eyes as soft as your smile.
Then Chinese.
Your eyes look like they want something.
I know Chinese too, tricky girl.
Then ancient Greek.
But can you recite Socrates in ancient Greek?
Sammy blinks. He has no idea what she's saying. Diana is unimpressed.
Where's Charlie?
Samir points at two men fighting. A huge bruiser beating the hell out of a smaller, younger man. Diana looks at Bruiser and nods approvingly.
At least this Charlie is good with his fists.
That's not Charlie.
The Bruiser lands a blow that knocks the smaller guy off his feet. Steve winces, nodding at the smaller guy.
That's Charlie.
The two grunt at one another in Scottish slang, but the Bruiser sees Charlie's got friends and quickly leaves. The surprisingly cheerful Charlie in his 30s gets to his feet. Interior British pub moments later. Diana, Steve, and Samir sit with the bruised Charlie, Scottish and deeply drunk, a whiskey glass in each fist.
All right, Charlie?
Stephen! My God, put a flower on your head.
Charlie downs the whiskey in a fluid sip. Gone.
What were you fighting about?
I mistook his drink for mine.
Diana looks at Steve, clearly concerned by his choice of reinforcements.
This man is no fighter.
Charlie here is an expert marksman. He shoots people.
From very far away.
Charlie grabs a drink from a patron who isn't looking.
They never know what hit him.
There's a darkness behind Charlie's polite smile.
How do you know who you kill if you can't see their face?
I don't. Better that way.
My aunt warned me about men like you.
Ain't the first time I heard that, lassie.
You fight without honor.
Deep down, Charlie already knew that.
Don't get paid for honor.
What's the job, Trevor?
2 days tops. We need supplies and passage to Belgium.
What's the going rate?
Better be good pay. And perhaps a picture of your lovely face, something to keep me alive.
Diana hides her disdain as best she can.
You won't need a picture. I'm coming with you.
Sammy's smile fades.
Is this?
We're dropping her off at the front.
Dropping her off?
No offense, Cherie, but I don't want to get killed helping a girl out of a ditch, you know what I mean?
The bruiser that Charlie was fighting returns, this time with several rough-looking friends.
Got your friends. These are mine.
Charlie's knocked to the ground. He doesn't see Diana move fearlessly, grabbing the bruiser as if he weighed nothing, and toss him across the room. The bruiser smashes into the wall, crumpling into the floor. His friends make a quick exit. Samir is smitten, helping Charlie up.
I am both frightened and aroused.
When aren't you? There they are.
Etta arrives, flustered, a forced smile on her face.
Hello all, sorry I'm late. I got waylaid by...
Sir Patrick!
That's what I was going to mention.
Steve, Samir, and Charlie stand out of respect. Steve glares at Etta. She shrugs apologetically and raises a hand. Just listen, you'll see.
Sit, gentlemen. Please, sit.
Sir Patrick pulls up a chair.
I assume you're here planning something that's either going to get you court-martialed or killed.
I assume you're here to stop us.
No. No, not that I like any of this. As one of your American authors, Thomas Paine, so eloquently put it, I prefer peace. But if trouble come, let it come in my time so that my children can live in peace.
Diana nods, liking this sentiment.
Now, nothing can jeopardize the armistice talks, but I also believe in insurance. I'm here to help you. Unofficially, of course. What's your plan?
If there is another weapons facility, find it and destroy it, along with Ludendorf and Maru.
A dark understanding passes between them, and Sir Patrick nods.
Etta will run the mission out of my office to allay suspicion.
Run the mission, sir.
He slides an envelope to Steve.
It's enough for a few days.
Thank you, sir.
Diana turns to Steve.
Gas, Ludendorf, Maru. You realize they're all symptoms. Ares is the disease, and once I find him, none of this will matter.
Steve looks at her. No time to argue.
I'll take you to the front, but I can't make any promises about finding your friends any more than I can Santa Claus.
You won't need to. I know him. I'll know him when I see him.
Interior Paddington Station morning. Diana takes herself into the throng, observing the different kinds of people hustling and bustling at the station. The atmosphere is weirdly jubilant and gung-ho. 2-6 ride through the station on bicycles. A willful little girl runs away from her mother. Nurses and women, factory workers board the train, solemnly and purposefully. Diana takes an array of human emotion. Mothers crying, fathers proud, sons committed and brave, going off to war. Girlfriends are swept passionately into boyfriends' arms. Dogs are scooped up and hugged goodbye. Diana's eyes well as Steve checks his watch.
Train leaves in a few minutes.
But Diana is engrossed with the joy around her. Steve looks around at what she's seeing, then back at her a beat longer than he would expect. Diana watches a man and his daughter walk away from an ice cream vendor, eating an ice cream cone. Steve spots her eyeing the girl eating, curious.
Hungry?
Diana nods, smiling. Steve buys 2 ice cream cones and hands her one. She examines it, delighted.
It's cold.
Ice cream.
Diana tastes it. Her eyes go wide. The best thing she's ever tasted in her whole life.
It's wonderful. You should be very proud.
Steve pulls her away, sheepishly smiling and nodding at the confused vendor.
Forget the countries or the territory or the generals. This is what we're really fighting for.
Then Diana sees something odd as they board the train. A Punch and Judy puppet show. One puppet hitting the other, people laughing at the violence, and to her, that's very strange, almost ominous. Exterior Dover Docks, hours later. The train rolls into the station at the Dover Docks. Exterior, the train sits at the top of the Dover Docks. Its steam engulfs hundreds of Allied soldiers disembarking, among them Diana, Steve, Samir, and Charlie. The new recruits are jubilant, singing It's a Long Way to Tipperary, as they walk towards the waiting steamship. Steve checks his watch again.
Gotta get a move on. Chief won't wait.
Chief?
Smuggler. Very reputable.
Diana looks at the ragtag team Steve's assembled, shakes her head.
A liar, a murderer, and now a smuggler.
Careful, I might get offended.
I wasn't referring to you.
I went undercover and pretended to be something else. I shot people on Road Beach. I smuggle a notebook. Liar, murderer, smuggler. You still coming?
Diana's confusion only grows as Steve leads a reluctant Diana and the group away from the soldiers down a different path. Nurses in the same uniforms as the clean and pristine ones who boarded the train are now soiled, stressed, wretched as they transfer the wounded young shoulders from a hospital ship to a train back to London. Steve purposefully blocks her view of the wounded men and women. Diana pushes him aside, taking in the horror and despair until she can look no longer. She grabs Steve's arm firm. Steve looks at her, still thinking she's a bit crazy, but right now she's absolutely right. He doesn't know how to stop it, but he nods at her just the same. The team moves towards a passenger boat. Exterior shoreline, Belgium. Diana looks around warily as she walks off the boat. She follows the team across the docks where workers load and unload horses. Some of the animals wear gas masks. Diana registers at the bizarre sight.
The gas will kill everyone. Everything. What kind of weapon kills innocents?
In this war, everything.
Exterior campfire, dusk. The sky grows dark as the sun sets. Diana and the team walk up to the campfire.
You're late.
The chief in his 30s, a bright-eyed Native American, steps to the fire, dropping more wood onto it. He smiles.
Chief.
He embraces Steve and then nods and smiles at Sammy and Charlie.
It's good to see you.
Hi.
The chief looks at Diana, and for the first time in the world of men, a man looks her square in the eye.
Who's this?
Chief extends a hand to shake. Diana grabs his wrist in a manner not unlike the Amazons. Chief responds, grabbing hers back, seemingly familiar with the gesture. Both Diana and Steve are surprised, and the chief speaks in his native tongue.
I'm Chief Napi, and I am not a demigod.
And Diana understands.
I am Diana.
Chief does not let go, still looking intensely in Diana's eyes. She grips tighter. Surprised, he steps back with one foot. To stay on balance, she does so with the opposite. Suddenly, Chief and Diana are arm wrestling, each trying to throw the other off balance. Then Chief laughs, letting go, conceding lest he find himself flat on his face.
Where did you find her?
She found me.
I plucked him from the sea.
It's a long story.
Diana looks at a pile of packages behind Chief, along with some guns.
British tea for the Germans, German bear for the British. Edgar Rice Burroughs novels for both sides.
And guns.
Charlie grabs a rifle, looking through the scope, and gives it a kiss, like a father reunited with his long-lost child. The others help themselves to guns. Steve, Samir, and Charlie take bottles of beer they paid the chief for.
It's not even very good beer.
Charlie's the only one that doesn't seem to mind. Steve looks at a map.
Ludendorf was last seen at the front, near the song. Front's about 3 miles away. Chief will get us there.
Then it's another day to safely cross it.
As soon as we have daylight, we move. I'll take first watch.
No need. I'll take it. I never sleep on the job.
Exterior campfire. Charlie fast asleep, along with Steve and Samir around the fire. Chief is heating cans of food, and Diana turns to rumbling in the distance.
Strange thunder.
German 77s. Guns. Big ones. That's the front out there, the evening hate.
Chief hands her a can of beans. She tries it and frowns. Not all the food here is good. Chief counts his money, and Diana eyes him warily.
So, who do you fight for in this war?
Chief stuffs the money in his pocket.
I don't fight.
You're here for profit, then.
Nowhere better to be.
Nowhere better to be than a war you don't take a side in?
I have nowhere else and no side left. The last war took everything from my people. We have nothing left. At least here I'm free.
Who took that from your people?
Chief cocks his head to the side, and how could she not know?
His people.
Before Diana can ask more about that, Charlie suddenly starts to murmur, suffering through some kind of terrible nightmare. Diana watches until Charlie cries out, waking himself and Steve and Samir. Diana reaches out to Charlie compassionately.
Safe. What did you see?
Gruff, Charlie pulls away from Diana.
I'm fine, right? Oh, bloody broad.
Charlie gets up and grabs another beer. The chief looks at Diana.
He sees ghosts.
Steve takes a blanket.
You're going to get cold. Here.
No,
She's not cold, but Steve places the blanket on her shoulders anyway. The gesture isn't lost on Diana. She nods, appreciative. Interior German operations bunker. Sentries patrol a fortified bunker deep in enemy territory. Ludendorf enters to find a German war council, chief among the commander von Hindenburg.
You were absent at the council meeting, General.
We are negotiating the terms of the armistice.
On the Kaiser's behalf.
But on your insistence. We can easily win this war. Still, if only you had faith in me.
The way Ludendorff says it, he almost expects everyone to simply agree with him, but von Hindenburg gets to his feet, angry.
We don't. There are shortages of food, medicine, ammunition. Every hour we delay costs thousands of German lives.
One attack and the war is ours. As we speak, my chemists and our team are...
We stand against you and your witch, Ludendorff. Enough! 4 hours from now, this war will end. It is over.
Ludendorff looks around, nods.
For all of you.
He turns and exits. Exterior German operations bunker. Ludendorff nods to Dr. Maru, who throws a canister of gas in. Maru watches curiously as Ludendorff then tosses a gas mask in. Von Hindenburg and the men look at the mask. Ludendorff closes the doors as the canister erupts. A commotion within the room breaks out as the gas spreads. Unable to escape, the men desperately fight over the gas mask.
The mask won't help.
Yes. They don't know that.
Ludendorff cracks open a capsule of gas, inhaling it. Again, it's a painful process. Again, his veins bulge and pulsate. With heightened strength, he presses against the doors. The screams of the dying men in the bunker seep out. It's music to Maru. She can hear it hissing as the gas scours the doors inside. Ludendorff pulls Maru away.
It's time to stage our demonstration for the Kaiser.
Exterior dirt road in the woods. Diana, Charlie, Sammy, and the chief follow Steve down a muddy road in the woods. The sound of bombs in the background. Diana takes in the bleakness of the world. A cluster of villagers runs past, fleeing from something. A baby cries in its mother's arms. Diana stares, hears screams ahead. In a ditch on the side of the road, 2 horses pulling a cart of munitions that is tipped are stuck in the mud. A soldier whips the horses, trying to get them out.
Those animals, why are they hurting them?
Because they need to move like us.
But I can help them.
There's no time. Come on.
Steve and the team jog down the road, Diana reluctantly following. A wailing man is heard ahead. On the road, Diana looks ahead to where a wounded soldier crying out in pain, surrounded by other soldiers trying to administer help as best they can.
Oh, God, help me, please.
He continues to cry out, and Diana's horrified.
That man, he's injured.
There's nothing we can do about it, Diana. We must keep moving.
As they move forward, Diana looks ahead and sees beyond the woods, no man's land. Pre-lap, the sounds of rain and thunder which booms, then fades in the sounds of gunfire and explosions. Exterior, rain-soaked countryside in Belgium. Chief leads the team through a muddy Belgian countryside in their hands and knees. Bullets flying overhead, they stop at a dugout entryway to exterior Allied trench. The Allied trench at the Belgian front. The team moves into the muddy trench occupied by Tommies, British soldiers. Diana and the others get to their feet, bullets and shells whistling and exploding overhead.
Where are we?
You wanted me to take you to the war? This is it. The front lines.
But where are Erik's men? The Germans?
Charlie motions past the shelling and flying bullets.
Couple 100 yards that way, in a trench like this one.
Diana's dismay grows. She looks at the faces of the frightened, worn-down soldiers as they move through a seemingly endless, narrow passage carved deep into the earth, walled on either side by sandbags and dirt, which is quickly pooling into mud at their feet.
Chief! Oi, Chief's back.
Chief! Welcome back. Nick of time.
The chief tosses out packs of cigarettes, matches, other goods to grateful soldiers. Diana watches the money exchange hands, then she hears the sound of anguished tears. A young mother, Marie, 25, holds her daughter, Nina, 6, sobbing to the chief. Diana listens, though Steve can't understand.
The Germans took everything, home, food. The ones who couldn't escape, They took as slaves.
Where did this happen?
3 points beyond the trench.
We need to help these people.
Steve looks across no man's land and shakes his head.
We need to stay on the mission.
And there's no safe crossing for at least a day ahead.
Charlie takes a swig from his well-worn flask.
What are we waiting for?
But these people are dying. They've nothing to eat, and in the village, enslaved, she said, women, children.
There's nothing we can do about that.
How can you say that? What is the matter with you?
This is no man's land, Diana. It means no man can cross it. This is the worst point on the entire front. This battalion has been here for nearly a year, and they barely get an inch because on the other side are Germany's deadliest soldiers, pointing machine guns at every square inch of this place. This is not something you can cross. It's not possible.
So we do nothing.
We're doing something. We can't save every person in this war. Besides, it's not what we came here to do.
She steps away from the group, turning away from them. Steve thinks she's upset. But when Diana turns back to him, he sees her face with determination, wearing Antiope's tiara, and for the first time, we really see Wonder Woman.
No, but it's what I'm going to do.
Diana moves past the team, stepping over the top of the trench.
Diana, no!
Exterior western front, onto the battlefield. Diana stands in her Wonder Woman armor with the God Killer sword in her hand, the shield on her back, and the lasso shining at her side. She surveys the battlefield. It's quiet, empty. She takes a step forward. In the German trench, a soldier takes aim at Diana and fires. On the battlefield, the bullet moves towards her. With her heightened perception, she watches it in slow motion, swatting it aside with her bracelet. She blocks another. In the Allied trench, everyone watches her with awe. Even Charlie has to admit.
How the hell should you do that?
Oh, how the hell should you do that?
On the battlefield, Diana continues walking across the battlefield, step by step, blocking bullets. Her pace begins to quicken, and then she starts to run. In the Allied trench, Steve's heart pounds as he watches Diana. He motions to the team. He can't believe he's about to do this, but...
She's drawing her fire. Let's go!
Steve and his team climb over the trench, leaving the hesitant British soldiers behind. Through a German scope, Diana races towards them, knocking bullets aside. In the German trench, German soldiers react, unsure of who or what Diana even is. One of the soldiers motions to the others. They lift a mortar, bringing it forward as the others continue to fire. Soldier after soldier joins in. On the battlefield, Diana runs, more bullets ricocheting off her bracelets. In the German trench, they fire a mortar into the air. On the battlefield, Diana uses her shield to bat aside the shells. They explode all around her. With her shield, she blocks the increasing barrage of bullets coming at her. One of two machine guns nest fire at Diana. In the Allied trench, inspired, the British soldiers surge over the trench with a cheer. On the battlefield, the second machine gun nest fires at Diana. She does her best to repel the machine gun fire, but together the two are slowing her down, taking a toll. Diana falls to one knee, then turns, grateful to see behind her Steve, the team, the Allied soldiers. Steve raises his rifle and takes out some of the shooters, giving Diana some relief. Charlie lays down cover fire as the chief tosses Samir a grenade. Samir lobs it at the nest on Diana's right. The explosion knocks the machine gun off its base. The second nest continues to fire on her. She leaps into the air, jumping down the second nest. She lands inside behind the soldiers, spinning around, slamming into them. She raises her shield and smashes it into a machine gun, breaking it apart. Steve, the team, and the Allies pour into the German trench, battling the soldiers within. Diana looks at the village of Veld ahead of them, grits her teeth.
We're not finished yet.
While the Allies clear the trench, Diana takes off through the rain and the mud towards the village. The team heads after her. Exterior, Veld, seconds later, Diana and the team reach the village, taking cover as they're fired upon. Diana looks to Steve.
Stay here. I'll go ahead.
Before anyone can argue, she races towards the gunfire. Diana's sword at her side, shield on her back, runs, avoiding the gunfire and grenades. Steve leads the team, covering for them as they follow Diana, and Steve fires.
Oh!
Diana jumps onto the wall of the building, springing off it, smashing through the window of another building, the source of more gunfire. Interior building. Diana leads the middle ground of armed German soldiers. She then goes into action, kicking a table, smashing it into two soldiers. She deflects bullets with her bracelets, turning to other soldiers, sending them flying with her fist, her shield. She hits a soldier, he flies through a window. Exterior town square. The soldier falls onto the street where we find Steve, Samir, Charlie, and the chief following Diana's trail. They watch as another soldier is thrown out of a window. Then they round a corner and find themselves pinned down by gunfire. The chief hands Steve a grenade. He tosses it, blowing up the nearby shooters. As they continue to fight their way into the interior building, Diana continues to fight her way through the building, breaking through the door, taking on more German soldiers inside. Diana rushes one, colliding into him, using him as a shield as he crashes out of a large glass window. Exterior town square. Diana lands on a nearby rooftop. Steve watches her run across it, and he and the team head deeper into the veld, all in the same direction. Suddenly, Steve and the boys are pinned down from gunfire by a tank. Charlie motions to a walkway between two buildings in front of the tank. The chief throws the grenade. Charlie shoots it, causing it to explode. The walkway fails, blocking the tank. Steve and the team make it to the center of the village to find a tank surrounded by dozens of soldiers. Sammy throws more grenades, but it's not enough. The tank has pinned them down until Diana rushes the tank, barreling into its side like a bull. The tank is thrown end over end across the town square, and the soldiers react in shock. Steve and the team use the opportunity to push forward, and the team flanks up against the building. They see locals locked inside, crying out for help from behind chained doors. In the town square, Diana blocks bullets with her bracelet, soldiers surrounding the fire on her from all sides. Steve throws two conventional grenades, blowing German soldiers by Diana sky high. Diana turns to see Steve joining her. All the soldiers pour in. One starts climbing the ladder up the bell tower. Back to the villagers, trapped in the building, the team breaks open the doors, letting them out. Another angle, Diana tosses the German soldiers around like rag dolls. A German has Steve in his sights until Diana races in, breaking the German's gun and sending him to the ground. She takes out several soldiers around Steve. Diana continues to block bullets while Steve fires. They work side by side until, bang! The German in the bell tower starts firing down at them. The team scatters, trying to help the villagers. Steve motions up.
Bell tower.
Diana sees the sniper at the top of the bell tower. Steve motions to Charlie.
Charlie.
Charlie pulls out his rifle, aims up, peering through the sight, but he's shaking. Sweats. Samir watches as Charlie fires. The bullet ricochets off the bell and gives away their position. The sniper turns against Charlie, Chief, and Samir. The three flank against the wall. Samir looks at Charlie, who's devastated.
You don't miss.
Bloody scope, lens is cracked.
But then the lens looks fine. Steve tries to take a shot at the bell tower, but he can't do so without exposing himself to the shooter.
Is there a way inside?
Steve looks at Diana, an idea forming.
There is.
It's too high.
He taps her shield. Diana looks at him, remembering Antiope's jump. Steve holds the shield parallel to the ground. Diana runs towards him, jumps onto the shield, and she launches herself high into the air. The sniper looks through his scope. His point of view, Diana is leaping up at him, gritting her teeth, angry. Back to the scene, Diana smashes into the sniper, breaking apart the tower, sending him flying into the neighboring rooftop below. Up on the tower, Diana stands strong and powerful, the definition of heroic. Then, cheers. The townspeople gather, emerging from hiding, celebrating this historic victory. Diana looks down at them, Steve among the villagers in absolute awe of Diana. Exterior town square. A photographer takes a daguerreotype of Diana, Steve, Charlie, Samir, and the chief standing in the village. Flash. The photograph sees our team imbuing a sense of pride and accomplishment. Steve's face is turned towards Diana's with a look of something more than admiration. Moments later, Diana walks with Samir. They look back at Charlie, head hung low, shaken. Charlie fumbles with his flask, dropping it.
For all his talk of murdering people from afar, your shooter can't shoot.
Not everyone gets to be who they want to be all the time. Me, I wanted to be an actor, not a soldier, but I'm the wrong color.
Diana considers this, then she turns, sees the chief with a small group of Belgians from the trench, including Marie and her family, all of them ragged, sleep-deprived, and starving, but hopeful. The chief dispenses bread and cheese. Diana noticed that no money changes hands. Steve walks to her.
He doesn't charge them?
Money isn't the only profit. Everyone's fighting their own battles, Diana, just as you are fighting yours.
Diana studies Chief with new eyes, touched by the man's generosity. Her previous opinion of these men continues to come into question. A cheer goes up from the liberated townspeople who are busying themselves in preparation for a party to celebrate their heroes. Interior inn, front desk. Diana comes to find Steve behind the front desk of an inn on the telephone.
Belt. Tiny village. It's probably not even on the...
Intercut with Interior War Office, Sir Patrick's outer office. Etta is on the other end of the call.
Found it.
Steve sees Diana standing on the stairs. He picks up the extension and offers it. Diana listens in. It's her first time using a phone.
Have you found Ludendorf's operation?
Not yet, but we've located him, and lucky you, he's only a few miles away at German High Command.
At first thought, Steve thinks that doesn't sound lucky.
German High Command?
Sir Patrick enters the room, overhearing.
Intel reports Ludendorf is hosting a gala, a last hurrah before the Germans sign the armistice. The Kaiser himself will be there, as will Dr. Maru.
Actually, that gal's perfect cover.
Captain Trevor, you are under no circumstances to attend that gala tomorrow. We cannot risk jeopardizing the armistice.
Don't be worried about upsetting the peace accord. Ares would never let that happen.
Steve motions her to please stop talking about Ares. Then Diana, a terrible realization.
What is it?
Of course. It makes complete sense. Ares developed the weapon, the worst one ever devised.
Ares? You mean Ludendorf?
She turns to look at Trevor.
No, I mean Ares. Ludendorf is Ares.
Steve's not sure what to believe at this point.
Steve.
Sir, this is our chance to find the gas and learn how Ludendorf plans on delivering it. Maybe our only chance. Our last chance.
I forbid it. Do you hear me? Steve!
Beat of silence as Steve makes a decision.
I'm sorry, sir. You're breaking up.
Steve! Are you there?
But Steve is clicked off. Exterior pub courtyard. The tables are crowded with villagers and all the food the Germans left behind. Beer flows, tea lights twinkle, a female pianist plays. Singing as couples dance, the atmosphere is warm and jovial. Diana and Steve stand at the edge of the crowd, unable to put an urgency of their mission aside and join in. Samir approaches them with 2 tankards of ale. Steve waves them off.
Drink later, Samir. I need to rustle up in a German uniform.
Samir puts the ale in front of Steve and Diana despite his protest.
Already done. Now you two need to relax. There's nothing we can do until tomorrow. You said it yourself, Steve.
Samir strolls off. Steve drinks. Diana does too, surprised by the flavor.
Bitter.
Acquired taste.
Diana smiles and nods. The world of men is an acquired taste.
That's into different flavors. You look for them.
Steve and Diana drink in unison. She nods and seems to like it better. A young girl hands Diana a flower. She's moved. So is Steve.
You did this.
We did.
You have dancing on Paradise Island?
Dance on Themyscira is more...
Interpretive?
Precisely. Perhaps you better show me.
Diana puts the flower behind her ear, then moves out to the dance floor.
Excuse me?
If I'm going to a gala, I need to know how to...
You're not going to the gala.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I?
You don't know how to dance, for one thing.
I would argue that they don't know how to dance.
Steve finally smiles and moves out to the floor to join her. He takes her left hand and moves his arm around her waist. It's the first time they've touched, which they're both keenly aware of.
You're awfully close.
Their faces are very near to one another's. Neither makes a move to pull away.
It's kind of the point.
Ah, they see.
Diana moves a bit closer and smiles. The music changes as a new pianist begins a beautiful melody, breaking into song with an incredible tenor voice. Diana and Steve look toward the piano and see that it is Charlie who's playing and singing. Diana can't help but be surprised once again by these men. Samir and the chief join the people crowding around Charlie, smiling and laughing, grateful. As the emotional song continues, they sway for a beat, holding each other, and then a single snowflake falls. Diana looks up as more and more white ice falls from the sky, sprinkling her hair. She holds out a palm, catching a flake and sniffing it.
It's a snowfall.
Magical.
Steve takes it in, seeing beauty where she does.
You're right.
Diana rests her head on Steve's shoulder. Steve can't remember loving anything as much as this feeling.
This is what people do when there are no wars to fight.
Yes, and other things.
What things?
I don't know. Okay. Make breakfast.
What else?
Read the newspaper. Go to work. We get married. We have babies. Grow old together.
What is it like?
No idea.
Something in his eyes tells Diana he'd like to find out. Diana thinks she might too. Steve pulls her in closer. She looks deep in his eyes.
Maybe once I defeat Ares and war ends forever, there will be a time to learn about all kinds of things.
The way Diana says it, that look in her eye, for the very first time in the film, Steve finds himself believing her story, desperately wanting to believe it.
God, I hope you're right.
Interior inn bedroom. Steve lays Diana gently down in the bed, brushing her hair from her neck and kissing it. Diana's eyes are wide and shocked by the electricity of those lips on her skin. She looks up at him, runs her hands through his hair, and pulls him to her. Mouth to mouth, the most perfect, passionate first kiss ever. Steve's ticking watch on the nearby nightstand. Exterior town square. The morning sun looks brighter to Diana than normal. She smiles, turns to see the team, Steve dressed in a German uniform. They're rounded up with horses.
The villagers gave them to us.
A gracious gift.
They called us heroes.
You are.
Everyone looks at Diana. The way she says it, Samir and the chief believe it, and it feels good. Samir smiles at Charlie, who forces a smile back, struggling to agree.
Guys, I'm fully aware that I said this job was 2 days.
You would get lost without us.
Yeah, we know Diane is capable of looking after herself, but I'm worried you wouldn't make it.
No more money, boys.
Samir pets his horse with a smile.
We've been paid enough.
The chief nods, but Diana spots Charlie's hesitation.
You're coming, Charlie. Perhaps you'll sing more for us. I enjoyed it very much.
Charlie brightens at a rare compliment from Diana.
Ah, don't encourage him.
Despite Samir's protest, Charlie starts to sing loudly, but joyfully. As the team moves on. Off Diana, moved by the continued goodness she's discovering within these unlikely men.
He's a real-life Amazon.
Exterior forest, Belgium. Diana leads the men on horseback. They trail behind. Diana turns, smiles, unaware Steve's just told them all about her.
That's the craziest story I've ever heard.
Wait, there's a whole island of women like her and not a single man among them? How do we get there?
Not their type.
We're all going daft.
It's true. Every word.
She thinks Ludendorf is Ares, the god of war.
And only by killing him will the war end.
You saw what she did out there, the way she charged that machine gun nest, the way she took out that tower. Maybe it's true.
Steve nods in agreement.
You don't really believe all this rubbish, do you?
Steve wishes he does, but deep down he doesn't. Exterior forest chateau. Through the trees, still on horseback, Diana and the team see the well-guarded fortress that is German high command. Steve uses field glasses to survey the scene. Chauffeured limousines go through the heavily guarded checkpoint at the gate. Behind it, a long line of cars delivering well-dressed guests to the entrance of the chateau, a single sentry stationed there.
How the hell are we going to get in?
The way is in through the gate.
Thank you, Chief, for that ancient tribal wisdom. That's very helpful.
The chief gets off his horse, hands the reins to Samir, then wanders off into the forest. Charlie looks through the scope, several guards at the gate, but only one at the door.
If you could get through the gate, I only see one guard at the door to distract.
It won't look at all suspicious when I come sauntering out of the woods on foot.
I could get in.
Not going in, it's too
Dangerous.
I know how to do stuff. Been doing it my whole life. I'll follow them wherever they're working on the gas, or better yet, find out where it is. Plus, you can't make a scene.
I can be stealthy.
Diana, what you're wearing doesn't exactly qualify as undercover.
I don't know. I'd say she was pretty undercovered.
Only Charlie laughs.
There's no way to scout it and report back. Worst case, we follow Ludendorf when he leaves, and you can use that magic lasso of yours to get him to tell us where it is.
But as long as he's still alive.
You can't go to German high command and kill anyone. You have to trust me, knight.
Suddenly, a gleaming Rolls-Royce limousine pulls into the forest, the chief in the driver's seat.
Where did that come from?
Field over there is full of them.
Can I drive it? Let me drive it. I'll be your chauffeur.
Steve looks at Diana.
Diana, please.
Steve climbs into the back seat and Samir drives the limo off.
We should scout the area in case we need to beat a hasty retreat. What do you think, Diana?
But when they look for her, she isn't there. Exterior chateau, German high command. A car rolls past the checkpoint gate. Another stops. Guards take an invitation from the driver, then wave the car on. In the next car, Samir, wearing a tea towel as a turban on his head, watches the exchange, alarmed.
Steve?
Steve in the back, decked out in his German uniform.
They have invitations.
Samir has no choice but to pull up to the guards. One of them holds out his hand, waiting for an invitation, but Samir takes the surprised guard's hand with both of his.
Ganya, Saviv, the colonel and I wish many blessings and all manner of other things to fall upon your head.
Thinking fast, Steve belligerently yells at Samir, startling the guards.
Your head's empty. He wants my invitation, you idiot.
Sammy grovels to the guard, kissing his hand. The guard tries to pull away.
I must apologize 1,000 times, my masters, for my most horrid, wretched, and unworthy soul has lost the colonel's invitation.
Steve checks his watch.
You drive 2 hours through this mud and filth, you are a disgrace.
A snail, no a bug, no the dung of a bug.
The bewildered and uncomfortable guards shoo them on. As they drive, Samir grins, glancing back at Steve.
Blessings be upon us.
Steve's smile fades when he sees soldiers are setting up a viewing platform with rows of seats. Steve doesn't know why. At the front of the chateau, Samir opens the limo door for Steve.
Keep the car running, Sahib, and no joyriding.
Samir smirks and bows. Steve heads to the chateau, watching him bowing and blessing to Germans. Steve shakes his head as he enters. Exterior chateau. Diana, her cloak concealing her armor, watches from the shadows as Steve disappears inside. Frustrated, she searches the exterior of the chateau for another way in, but she's distracted by the insistent honking of a car horn behind her. She turns to find a stunning, exquisitely dressed woman. Fausta Grebels, in the 30s, in an extraordinary gown, leaning over her driver and honking the car's horn in a futile attempt to get the traffic moving again.
I'm not spending the entire evening out here, you idiots! Move your cars! I said move!
Infuriated, she marches up the long driveway towards the door. Diana steps out of the shadows and into her path.
What are you supposed to be? Get out of my way.
But when Diana doesn't get out of her way and instead sidles up to her to see if they're the same height.
What are you doing? Guards!
Which is when Diana delivers a quick judo-like chop to her neck, where it meets her lovely shoulder, causing Fausta to collapse and lose consciousness. Off Diana catches Fausta as she falls. For the first time in her life, Diana enjoys her own ruggishness, like one of the boys.
That was fun.
Interior chateau foyer. Steve walks up the stairs, spotting the Kaiser at the head of the receiving line atop them. Ludendorf is next to him, talking intensely to Dr. Maru. As much as they try not to, people can't help but stare at her.
They are starting to ask where von Hindenburg and the others are.
Soon it won't matter.
But General.
Continue as planned. Now go. I have people to tend to beyond you.
Maru is taken aback by his firmness. Feels eyes staring at her. She's used to rejection, but not from him. She nods and breaks off, moving into the grand ballroom. An orchestra plays. Couples waltz, chandeliers blaze. The room is full of officers, their wives and prominent civilians in formal wear. Maru moves to a fireplace, staring at the fire.
Excuse me.
She turns to face Steve, holding 2 glasses of champagne. He offers her one.
I don't drink. Have we met?
No, but I've been watching you, following your career. I mean, you're Dr. Isabel Maru, the most talented chemist in the German army. I'm a fan.
Steve keeps one eye on Ludendorf. Maru notices, and he covers.
Hope I not crossed the line. I hear you and Ludendorf are very close.
We work well together, yes?
I'm sure he provides a great deal of support for you on your work. But having someone like me behind you, I could provide a lot more.
She's not falling for the man, but there's something about him, a faint recognition.
And who are you?
A man who would show you the appreciation of a genius like yourself deserves.
She stares into the fire, captivated.
I love fire, don't you? It's a living act of Antiope, the ultimate weapon of destruction, reminding us that, in the end, everything returns to ash it once came from. There's something reassuring about it. I see all of that in your eyes.
She can't help but stare back deeply into his eyes, surprised to find her heart racing. For a brief moment, she's unsure of what she's feeling.
Perhaps you could show me what you're working on. I hear it's extraordinary.
Steve's about to get the answers he needs when Diana, in Faustus' gown, makes her entrance. At the top of the stairs, her uniform underneath, the god killer peeking out from the back of her dress, the hilt looking like a piece of jewelry. Heads turn at the stunning Amazon. Steve's completely torn. Does he stay and get his answers from Maru, or stop Diana from getting to Ludendorf? Maru makes the decision for him.
I appreciate your interest in my work, but I am loyal to General Ludendorf. Besides, I see now your attention is elsewhere.
Diana and Ludendorff's eyes meet. It is an intense moment. She examines him, trying to confirm with her own eyes that he is Ares. Steve desperately wants to get to her, and the tension is thick. What's she going to do? Seeing the most beautiful woman in the room, Ludendorff can't help but give Diana a courtly bow and kiss her hand.
Join the party.
I confess, I'm not sure what we're celebrating.
Some victory, of course.
He offers her hand to dance. She takes it, sizing him up.
Victory? When I hear peace is so close?
Peace is only an armistice and an endless war.
She understands and tenses.
Thucydides.
You know your ancient Greeks. They understood that war is a god, one that requires human sacrifice.
Her heart pounds.
In exchange, war gives man purpose, a chance to rise above his petty, mortal, little life and be better than he is.
On Diana, there's no question now. This is Ares.
Only one of the many gods believed in that, and he was wrong.
She desperately wants to reach for her sword, but he's still holding her.
You know nothing about the gods.
General.
Ludendorff looks over at the soldier. He checks his watch and relaxes his hold on her.
My apologies. Excuse me. Enjoy the fireworks.
Just as he turns back on Diana. She reaches for her sword. She's about to draw it when Steve gets between them, facing her. He pulls Diana away from him, taking her hand, dancing with her as cover.
What are you doing?
The dancing is anything but what it was the last time.
You agreed to wait.
You agreed to do things all the time and then don't do them. Let me go.
You can't kill Ludendorff inside German High Command. The armistice
It won't matter.
What if you're wrong, Diana? What if there is no Ares?
Don't believe me. What I do isn't up to you.
Reminding Steve of her strength, Diana uses only her fingers to push him away, as if he were nothing, and he almost loses his footing. Diana looks for Ludendorff. He's left. She's run out. Steve follows. Exterior chateau moments later. Diana exits, looks around, spotting Ludendorff, Maru, and the soldiers entering one of the chateau's tower houses, which is quickly secured behind them.
Diana!
Diana starts running towards it when the sound of a missile launching from the guardhouse. Then another, and another. Their eyes follow the path of the missiles. She understands, horrified. See, the target is?
Village.
Diana runs off towards the village while the audience at the chateau behind her bursts into applause and cheers. Exterior forest. Samira is regrouped with the chief and Charlie. Chief and Samira look up at smoking trails in the sky left by the missiles, while Charlie peers through his scope at the chateau.
They're cheering.
Suddenly, they spot Diana racing through the forest on her horse.
Diana!
Steve rides up to them, out of breath.
Where did they fire?
It was Ludendorff.
See him.
Wherever he goes, you follow him.
Steve chases after Diana.
How will you find us?
I know how.
Exterior outskirts of Veld. Racing through the woods in the distance, Diana, now in her armor on horseback, her torn-off dress discarded, floating behind her. She arrives at the outskirts of the village, which is now entirely engulfed in a thick-colored cloud of gas. She dismounts, enveloped by the gas. She can't see anything in front of her, but knows immediately that all the villagers have perished. She has trouble breathing, her eyes red and stinging, blisters on her skin.
No, no, no.
Tears fill her eyes.
Diana!
Diana walks out to see Steve arrive, dismounting. Diana points to Steve, her blisters healing before his eyes.
Dead. They're all dead. You did this!
Diana,
You
I'm
stopped
sorry.
me from killing Ares when I had the chance! You murderer! You killed these people! Stay away from me!
Steve freezes in his tracks.
Everything you said to me is a lie. But I see the truth now. It isn't just the Germans that Ares has corrupted. It's you too. It's all of you.
Steve is rattled.
I will find Ares, and I will kill him.
Steve sees a trail of smoke in the sky in the distance.
The signal from the chief. I follow Ludendorf.
Diana rides off in a fury.
Diana!
Steve starts to get his horse and then sees an abandoned motorcycle on the road into town and changes his mind. Exterior security post. Along the road, Diana comes upon a German security post, the 3 German sentries, but she refuses to stop. She knocks the Germans aside like bowling pins. Exterior forest. Steve avoids the security post, tearing through the woods. Exterior countryside. The last wash of sunlight fades as night takes over. Diana rides on a horseback through the countryside at amazing speed, driven, possessed by rage. She heads towards Charlie, Samir, and the chief, who are all at a fire chief has set, used to create the smoke signals. He points the top of a hill. She rushed past them and up the hill. Cresting the hill, we see an airfield, and she heads down towards it. Steve isn't far behind her, racing past the team. Exterior, outside the airfield. As Diana storms towards the airfield, her eyes land on the control tower, where she sees Ludendorf on the balcony, looking out over the airfield, a hive of activity. She charges the tower, flipping off her horse and over a barbed wire fence. She takes out more Germans, slashes through the second barbed wire fence, fights to the tower, and Diana lassos a soldier on the balcony, yanking him down and then leaping into the tower herself. Interior control tower. Ludendorf turns to Diana, arrives, wielding the God-Killer. He smirks, scoffing.
Nice to see you again. This surprise.
He aims his gun at her.
But I have things to do.
Ludendorf fires at Diana. She blocks the bullet with her bracelet, ricocheting it back at Ludendorf's gun. It explodes in his hand. He cries out in pain, shocked. Diana lowers her smoking bracelet, looking him in the eyes, assuming he knows who she is now after the display of power.
You know why I'm here. I am Diana of Themyscira, daughter of Hippolyta.
Ludendorf turns away from Diana, cracking open a blue capsule. He inhales. It's painful but powerful, veins bulging. Exterior control tower walkway. Diana sees Ludendorff's veins bulging, almost supernatural. Her eyes widen with confirmation. Diana moves quickly, thrusting the God-Killer at him. He dodges it. She strikes him in the face with her fist. They trade blows. He grabs a bayoneted rifle mounted on the wall. Ludendorff uses the rifle as a gun, a spear, and a sword. He hits her again and again, but Diana strikes back with such force that he flies backwards through the window and onto the narrow walkway outside. Ludendorff struggles to his feet. Exterior control tower. Diana charges again. Ludendorff manages to escape being gored by climbing up the tower roof. Ludendorff stands, holding his bayonet as Diana leaps up on the roof to join him. And the battle rages on, sword against bayonet, both so close to plummeting to the ground with every volley. But then Ludendorff lands a blow that sends Diana and his bayonet sliding over the roof's edge. She manages to grip the ledge, but loses the God-Killer. Pulling herself back up with the incredible effort, she sees that Ludendorff has the God-Killer.
As magnificent a creature as you are no match for me.
With veins pulsating blue, Ludendorff swings the sword down to deliver the killing blow, but Diana blocks it with her bracelets.
We'll see about that.
Ludendorff strikes again and again until Diana grabs the blade with her bare hands. It cuts deep, drawing blood. She cries out in pain. Summoning impossible strength, she grips the blade and shoves it back with such force that Ludendorff loosens his grip. For the first time, we see that he is afraid. Diana stands over him, raising the God-Killer.
I, daughter of Hippolyta, came here to complete the mission of the Amazons by taking your life and ridding mankind and my people of you forever.
Diana plunges the god killer into Ludendorff's body. His body crumbles to the ground, the blue in his veins fading away like a light going out. Ares is dead. She breathes heavy, takes in her victory, reveling in it. Her mission is accomplished. Her mother would be proud. Antiope, all of the Amazons. The battlefield is quiet. A storm begins to simmer in the sky. Then she hears a German commander screaming at his troops. Her brow knits with confusion. Diana looks out over the airfield. Her face falls. Hundreds of Hellman soldiers wearing strange, customized gas masks emanate from Dr. Maru's lab, working with hundreds of gas bombs. To Diana's horror, nothing has changed. Ares may be dead, but war carries on.
Diana!
Steve is on the balcony below.
Diana?
Relieved she's okay, Steve sees Ludendorff's body on the edge, and Diana turns to him, lost.
I killed him. I killed Ares, but nothing stopped. You killed the god of war, you stopped the war.
Steve registers her confusion, but follows her gaze to the growing threat below. No time to explain.
Right. We've got to do something about it.
She leaps down to Steve, eyes wide with shock.
No, Steve! All of this should have stopped. The fighting, it should have stopped. So why are they doing this?
Steve sees the crisis on her face, forcing himself to slow down and tune into it. Said, knowing the reality Diana's about to face, his heart breaks for her.
Diana, I'm sorry. I know you thought I hoped it too, but I knew.
You knew what?
That it might not be that simple.
But Ares is dead. They don't have to do this anymore, so why would they?
Steve finally says what he hasn't had the heart to say all along.
Because maybe people aren't just good, Diana. Ares are more Ares. Maybe it's just them.
She looks out at them, the truth slowly sinking in as she tries to understand.
No, it can't be. Everything I saw, they were killing each other. Killing people they can't even see. Killing children. Like it was nothing. It had to be him. It can't be them.
Diana, sometimes people are complicated.
Diana's disbelief begins to turn to anger.
My mother was right. She said the world of men don't deserve you. That's why she left. They don't deserve our help.
Steve knows they're out of time.
It's not about whether they deserve it or not. It's about what you believe. You think I don't get it? All I see out there? I wish I could tell you that there was one bad guy to blame. Maybe we're all to blame, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to do better. And if you believe this war should stop, Diana, if you want to stop it, then help me stop it now.
Diana still isn't there.
If we don't, they're going to kill thousands more. Don't give up on them. Don't give up on me.
Diana doesn't respond. She isn't there yet.
Please. We gotta go. I have to.
It kills Steve to release her hand, but he has no choice. He has to. He does, and he can only look back, hoping she'll follow. Diana's left alone. Everything she ever believed in is destroyed. She watches as Steve runs off. Exterior airfield control tower. Steve joins the team as they arrive and regroup.
Where's Diana?
We're on our own.
Despite their hesitation and confusion about that, the team follows Steve towards the hangar. Exterior control tower. Diana takes in a breath, smells the chemicals in the air, hears the sounds across the airfield. She's become hyper-aware of the harshness of the world around her. She turns, seeing a figure through the window looking at Ludendorff's plans. For a brief moment, she thinks it's Steve.
Steve?
The figure pauses and then looks at her. Diana wonders, who is it?
Who's there? What are you doing?
The figure finally speaks.
I've been waiting for you to see the truth.
She looks closer, a shiver up her spine. Confusion overwhelms Diana as she sees it's...
Sir Patrick?
Sir Patrick is there like a dream, or a nightmare, calmly gazing over at Diana through the glass.
You're right, Diana. They don't deserve our help. They only deserve destruction.
Diana freezes.
You're him.
I am. But not what you thought I was. You blame me, but the truth is, all of this, I did none of it.
Alarmed, Diana reaches for her sword, but her hand grasps at nothing. She quickly realizes it's still in Ludendorf. Diana leaps out of frame to retrieve it. Exterior airfield hangar. Steve and the team regroup, taking cover behind a hangar. Charlie scanning the area with his scope.
I can't see where they're taking the gas.
They duck behind crates as gas-masked soldiers march by. Sammy points out over an airfield the enormous modern prototype bomber on the runway, being loaded up with bombs. The workers hurry as the storm continues to build around them.
Wherever Diana is, I think we're going to need her.
Steve watches as a soldier motioning to the crew to pick up the pace. Steve and the team see soldiers loading bombs in the back of the plane. Steve motions to the team that they head back around the back of the hangar. Interior, exterior airfield. Diana leaps down from above, the God Killer back in her hands. She circles the tower like a tiger, looking through the glass, but Sir Patrick remains very calm.
I'm not your enemy, Diana. I am the only one who truly knows you, and who truly knows them as you now do. They have always been and always will be weak, cruel, selfish, and capable of the greatest horror.
As he speaks, Diana holds the sword with two hands, trying to regain her confidence, but struggling. Stepping into the doorway, he vanishes. She looks around, finds he's suddenly outside.
Diana of the Mascara, daughter of Hippolyta, and I am here to complete her mission.
Diana cocks back her sword for battle when Sir Patrick disappears again, reappearing behind her. She spins and plunges the God Killer into him. Sir Patrick simply holds up his hand towards the sword and disintegrates into a cloud of dust, right down to the hilt. Diana can't believe it.
God Killer.
The God Killer? Oh, child. That is not the God Killer. You are. Only a god can kill another god. Zeus left the daughter he had with the Queen of the Amazons as a weapon to use against me.
Diana's mind is reeling.
You lie!
Diana throws her lasso around Sir Patrick, who doesn't try and avoid it. On contact with Sir Patrick, the lasso glows brighter than previous seen.
I compel you to tell me the truth.
Sir Patrick calmly looks into her eyes. The lasso's golden energy courses between them.
I am.
Exterior airfield hangar. Steve and the team put on gas masks and jackets pulled from a handful of unconscious soldiers. They leave behind as they creep around the hangar to the plane. Steve and the team blend in with the crew working on the plane. Exterior airfield. Samir boards the plane while Steve moves to the plane wheel, trying to get a better look at the plane's position. The chief spots soldiers examining a map just inside the hangar. As they walk by, the chief sneaks in. Interior control tower. The lasso is still tight around Sir Patrick, crackling. Diana holds it, still unsure what to think.
I am not the god of war, Diana. I am the god of truth. All I ever wanted was to show my father how evil his creation was. But he refused.
As Sir Patrick runs his fingers along the lasso, a surge of energy runs from his hands and down towards Diana, into her, causing her to see flashes of the past. Each is like a pulse that fades and returns us to the scene at hand. Flashback. Exterior no man's land. We push through the bleakness of the world.
Mankind stole the world from us. They ruined it, day by day.
Exterior Mount Olympus night. Ares falling to the earth, his armor falling off.
And I, the only one wise enough to see it, was left too weak to destroy them myself.
Interior, exterior, to be determined. Somewhere dark. Ares shivering, powerless, the remnants of his armor cracking and breaking apart around him.
All those years I've struggled, whispering into their ears.
Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's lab. Maru at her workbench, the spectral form of Sir Patrick whispering silently to her, unseen by anyone. A strange wind passes as he does. Her eyes light up. She starts mixing chemicals frantically.
Ideas, inspiration, for weapons, formulas, but I don't make them use them. They start these wars on their own.
End flashback. Interior control tower. The flashbacks fade and we return to Diana's stunned face.
All I do is orchestrate an armistice I know they will break in the hope they will destroy themselves. but it's never been enough. When you first arrived, I was going to end you, Diana. Then I felt something I haven't felt for thousands of years. Stronger.
Sir Patrick clenches his fist, his neck pulses.
It was your power, healing me more than you could ever hurt me.
Diana's eyes narrow, trying to understand. Sir Patrick's hands begin to flicker with fire.
And I knew that if only you could see what other gods couldn't.
Sir Patrick runs his finger along the lasso, energy arcing down the lasso into Diana as it hits her. Vision, exterior, no man's land. They are transported to the barren, war-torn no man's land.
All the suffering, all the pain and destruction they create, you would join me.
Diana looks around her.
With our powers combined, we could finally end them.
The barren no man's land transforms into a lush Garden of Eden, like Themyscira itself.
We could return the world to the paradise it was before them. And there would be absolute peace, Diana. Forever.
Close on Diana, taking it in. Sir Patrick smiles, pleased, but Diana resists.
No, I would never be a part of that.
And like that, interior control tower night, reality. The vision around Diana vanishes. They are back in the control tower. Exterior airfield hangar. Steve tries to pry open a panel on the plane, looking for a way to sabotage it somehow. When a German soldier approaches Steve, suspicious. The German is about to yell when, thump, Charlie lowers the butt of his rifle onto the German. Steve nods in appreciation, then notices a chill as the wind starts to rise. Steve looks over, his face grows tense. Dr. Maru approaches the plane for inspection with more soldiers. They retreat to the shadows. Interior bomber prototype. Samir moves past rows of bombs already loaded. He spots something, a timer wired to the bombs. Interior airfield hangar, the chief examines the map. Horror covers his face when he sees the plane's target, London. Interior control tower, Sir Patrick looks angered. He almost had her, his eyes narrow.
Oh, Diana, my dear sister, I don't want to fight you, but if I must.
He quickly grabs the lasso and a violent eruption of energy erupts, and the control tower explodes. Exterior airfield, a deafening explosion erupts across the airfield, demanding everyone's attention. It's overwhelming and chaotic, putting the soldiers in panic mode. They're under attack. Steve and the team react, unable to see what caused it, retreating in the shadows to find out.
Hurry up, they're on to us.
Sammy, let's go.
Dr. Maru turns to a three-man crew, pilot, co-pilot, and the bombardier. She calls out.
Forget about them! Come on, move! Go now!
Exterior control tower. Diana lands on the ground, rolling across it. Exterior airfield. Steve and the team race across the airfield, searching for cover. Exterior control tower. Diana pushes herself up off the ground, gazing over at Sir Patrick, who simply floats down, burning debris all around them. Getting to her feet, Diana runs towards Sir Patrick, close on Sir Patrick, calmly looking out at the destruction. And Diana, as he flicks his hand, through his sheer force of will, Sir Patrick lifts the tower debris around Diana. Girders rise, toppling over on either side of her. She races towards Sir Patrick. Diana dodges them, running through the gauntlet, gazing up as light shines down, toppling towards her. Diana leaps out of the way. Exterior airway runway. Steve and the team take cover behind several crates. Exterior control tower. Diana throws her lasso at Sir Patrick, but he holds his hand up and blasts it back.
Oh, my dear. You have so much to learn.
Diana lassos a girder, swinging it back to Sir Patrick, but he hovers above it. The debris smashes into a gas tank, exploding. Exterior airfield, fighting through the growing storm. Diana races towards Sir Patrick. He raises his hand like a conductor, ripping chunks of the tarmac up. Diana avoids one, smashes through another, then leaps in the air with a massive chunk of the earth rises. Diana leaps into the air towards Sir Patrick. Exterior airfield hangar. Hidden behind the crate, Steve and the team remove their masks and see Diana and Sir Patrick battling. Steve reacts to Sir Patrick levitating.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
There's not much we can do. That's what I think it is.
Steve looks at the plane.
But we can stop that plane.
Exterior airfield. Diana leaps at Sir Patrick, but she blasts her back under the covering chunk of earth. Sir Patrick motions, sending the trunk crashing down to the ground, but Diana zips out of the way. In a blur, she slams into Sir Patrick, sending him flying. Close on Sir Patrick, catching himself, gazing up, cackling with lightning. Exterior airfield hangar Charlie peers through his scope at the plane.
If we radio ahead, we can ask Air Corps to shoot it down.
No, the crashes will wipe out everything for 50 square miles. We gotta ground it.
Bad news. It's on a timer. If we ground it here, same thing.
Steve looks over at Diana and then the plane, and he realizes what he has to do.
Is it flammable, Chief?
Yeah, she said it was hydrogen. It's flammable.
I need you guys to clear me a path to that.
Go, Steve!
Steve!
Steve is already running towards it. The team go into action. Interior airfield hangar, Diana grabs a large wooden crate and throws it up at Sir Patrick. Sir Patrick raises his hand and the crate appears to hit an invisible wall, breaking apart, revealing hundreds of grenades inside. The grenades hover for a split second, then Ares sends them down towards Diana. Diana grabs a large bomb nearby and throws it into the air towards the grenades, causing a massive explosion. The explosion sends Diana and Ares flying backwards across the airfield. Exterior airfield, Steve sees Diana smashing across the airfield. He rushes to her side. The team watches as the truck moves the plane forward. Charlie aims his gun, shooting straight into the engine. The truck smokes and halts. The plane stops for a brief moment as Steve helps Diana up. He starts to talk, but her ears are ringing. She can see him, but not hear him.
What?
In the fire, across the airfield, within the burning fire, close on Ares' hand, awakening, clutching the earth. Exterior airfield, Steve talks to Diana, but her ears are still ringing. Through Charlie's scope, watching as the truck moves the plane forward. Another angle, Charlie aims his gun, shooting straight into the engine. The truck smokes and halts. The plane stopped for a brief moment as Chief puts his hand on Charlie's gun and lowers it.
Don't shoot. The whole thing could go.
The plane's blades start spinning. The team fights the airmen around it, clearing a path Steve asked them to. Angle on Diana and Steve, struggling to say goodbye.
Come on this way! Steve!
Steve looks at Charlie, who motions to the plane. Soldiers are firing at the team. Others have unhooked the tow truck, so the plane is moving forward again. He presses his watch to her hand. She looks at it, confused, then looks up to see him running away. One last look at Diana, lingering, his heart breaking. Then he races to the plane, confused. Diana calls after him.
Steve!
Steve runs past the team towards the plane.
I have the plane.
It's Steve.
You destroy the lab. Go!
The team hesitates for a second, looking at the hangar.
If we go in there, we're not coming back.
They share a look, and then go anyway. Steve leaps onto a ladder in the wing of the bomber, climbing up as the plane moves down the runway. Exterior airway runway, on the wing. Steve pulls himself to the door, opens it. Steve's confronted by the bombardier as he enters. The grapple, Steve throws him out. Exterior airfield, Diana turns towards a burning fire. Close on Diana, gazing into the fire. Interior bomber prototype. Steve fights with the bombardier, throwing him out of the plane. In the fire, Sir Patrick summons scraps of metal all around him. One piece slams against his body, then another, and another, faster and faster. Angle on Sir Patrick. Using the fire to forge the metal on his body, recreating Ares' iconic armor he wore in the history lesson. Close on Ares' hand, wrapped in metals, forming a fist. Close on Ares' fingers, digging into the metal on his head, creating the shape of his helmet. Exterior airfield, walking out of the fire, we reveal Sir Patrick now in Ares' armor. Diana sees Ares run straight at him. He calmly walks towards her. He creates twin swords out of thin air, his power growing thanks to Diana. He's able to conjure any man-made weapon at will and throws the swords at Diana. She blocks the swords, falling back to the ground. Closer angle on Diana. A bloody gash at her side. Another angle. Ares charges Diana. He conjures a spear, throwing it at her. She blocks it, but again is thrown back as the weapon combusts, slamming into a train car. Ares does not relent, conjuring twin swords, swinging them at her. She dodges the blades, blocks them with her bracelets. Interior bomber prototype. Steve moves deeper into the bomber and the pilot and co-pilot. The co-pilot gets up, pulling his gun. The pilot cautions him, motions to the gas bombs.
You hit that, we all go up.
The co-pilot nods, puts his gun away, spots another weapon. The co-pilot rips a fire hatchet off the wall, swinging it hard. Steve dodges the hatchet, then slams his fist into the co-pilot, sending him back against the gas bombs. Steve wrestles the hatchet away from the co-pilot, and he slams his fist into the co-pilot as he crumples to the ground. Steve fights the pilot, tossing him back, taking the controls. Steve pulls a lever. Exterior airfield runway as the bomber lifts up off the runway to the air. Bomber doors open, dumping out the pilot and co-pilot. Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's laboratory. Charlie, Samir, and Chief enter the hangar. Gunshots ring out as Dr. Maru desperately gathers her notes, trying to save her work. The team looks out across the lab, seeing different drums of chemicals ready to be mixed to create the gas. They start kicking over the drums, dismantling the lab, setting charges. Exterior airfield runway. Ares conjures a hook and chain, throwing it at Diana, wrapping it around her arm. He throws her across the airfield. Diana slams into a tank, denting it. She stands up just as Ares swings a massive sword, the power of the blade slicing everything in its path. Diana dodges it as the power slices the tank in two. Exterior airfield runway. She leaps up at Ares as he conjures a hatchet. Tackling him, they crash onto the top of the hangar. Diana digs her hand onto the roof, stopping herself. Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's laboratory. The team moves out across the lab, the chief setting charges, while Dr. Maru escapes out the hangar with her notebooks, turning back for one last look before disappearing. Exterior airfield hangar. On the hangar rooftop, Diana throws her lasso around Ares' arm, yanking him forward. Diana throws her knee into him, knocking him up, and then throws her elbow, knocking him down. Ares barely moves out of the way as Diana smashes her foot on the roof, narrowly missing his head. Ares conjures a large hammer, Diana dodging it as he swings. She wraps her lasso around him, tossing him over her head. Close on Diana, her rage is growing. Another angle, Ares conjures a large sword, stabbing the roof, stopping himself. Ares launches at Diana, grabbing her by the neck, lifting her in the air off the hangar.
Is that all you have to offer me?
Ares throws Diana across the airfield. She slams into tanks and vehicles, springs back onto her feet. Ares uses his growing power to throw tank treads at her. The tread wraps around Diana, slamming her to the ground, lightning crackling across them as they tighten around her. Pinned, Diana is overwhelmed by a feeling of desperation. Interior hangar, Dr. Maru's laboratory. Charlie lights a trail of alcohol poured from his flask, leading to a stick of dynamite. They run out. Outside the lab, Charlie covers Samir and Chief while they throw grenades in, and the lab explodes. Interior bomber prototype. In the cockpit, Steve uses all his strength to fight the G-force pulling against his body. Exterior hangar, Dr. Maru's lab. For a brief moment, it's victorious. But dozens of soldiers come at the team from all directions. Bullets whizzing by, the men take cover. The team returns fire. Exterior hangar, Dr. Maru's laboratory. Charlie fires and click. His face falls. He's out of ammo. They're all out. Trapped. They know it's over. Trapped by the treads, Diana turns, seeing the team on the ground out in the open. Ares hovers over Diana, tightening the treads around her with the movement of his hands.
It's futile, sister, but keep trying.
Diana hears the sound of a plane and she looks up into the sky, the plane soaring up into it. Interior bomber prototype. Steve breathes, flying the plane high. He looks back at the burning factory and laughs. Soars higher into the air, he looks back at the gas bombs filling the plane. Steve pries his gun from his holster, pointing it backwards towards the gas bombs. Diana is suddenly overwhelmed by a feeling, almost otherworldly, a connection to Steve, absolute dread on her face. Steve's jaw is set, determined. He shuts his eyes, thinks of Diana, and then he fires his gun. Exterior airfield.
Steve.
And the bomber explodes, enveloped in a cloud of glowing gas that burns itself up in the explosion. A horrible scream emanating from deep within Diana.
No!
Close on a low profile of Diana, struggling with the tank treads. She explodes with grief and anger. Freeing herself from Sir Patrick's hold, he stumbles back. In a rage, Diana turns to him, jumps into the air, and Ares slamming her foot down across him. Diana tackles him, leaps up, they crash into the hangar. German soldiers watching, scattering as Diana slides Ares across the ground. Ares punches Diana off him, motions towards the tank, it turns, firing at Diana. She rolls out of the way and catches the shell, throwing it back at the tank. As it explodes, German soldiers run until Ares sees them and uses his growing power, takes them over. They all freeze in place. Close on a German soldier, through his gas mask, we see his eyes turn black. Another angle, the soldiers aim their guns at Diana, firing dozens of bullets. She blocks them. Charging towards Ares, the soldiers move all around her, blocking her way. Close on Diana, her eyes begin to darken. She's lost in Steve's death, transformed into a violent machine. In a brutal, stunning move, Diana attacks the soldiers in a fit of rage. She decimates the soldiers, one after the other, tearing through them. She spins through the crowd, slamming into the soldiers, building into a super spin that blows them all back. Diana charges Ares, flipping over around him, dodging his sword, kicking him, leaping away, landing and throwing her lasso around his leg. She wraps her lasso around her own leg, flipping him over her head, slamming him down on the ground. Diana leaps into the air, smashing her elbow into his back. Breathing heavily, full of anger, Diana pulls him up, getting close enough to realize he's smiling. She's almost his.
Yes, Diana. Don't stop.
Diana pauses, breathing heavily like a wild animal, but resists. Ares blasts Diana back into a tank, trying to anger her into fighting. Diana lifts up the tank.
There was such hope and determination, and look at you now! Mankind did this to you. Join me in the fight, and we can destroy them forever!
But still Diana resists, the darkness in her eyes flickering. Ares sneers with disgust. He turns towards the runway, using the winds to take hold of the military vehicle Maru is desperately trying to escape in. The vehicle spirals towards Diana, spinning end over end and breaking apart. Maru tumbles out, lying in front of Diana beneath the upheld tank.
Look at her, and tell me I'm wrong.
Diana looks at Maru, the anger boiling in her. Maru cowers, her metal mask flapping off in the wind, grotesque and pathetic.
She is the perfect example of these humans, and unworthy of your sympathy in every way.
Close on Diana, her eyes black as she struggles. She wants so badly to end Maru.
Destroy her, Diana.
Diana stands over the trembling, terrified woman about to crush her, but Diana hesitates.
She deserves it. They all do.
Diana snarls, her arms shaking with the weight of the tank over her head, her anger threatening to overtake her. Ares uses his power on Diana's lasso, wraps it around her, holding it tight.
See the truth for yourself.
Maru looks up at Diana, and Diana looks down at her.
Diana.
She closes her eyes in her mind, but it isn't the ugliness of mankind. Flashback, exterior airfield. She sees Steve, their last moment together replaying, but this time she hears him.
Diana, you have to go.
What are you saying? Steve, whatever it is, I can do it. Let me do it.
No, it has to be me. I can save the day, but you can save the world. I wish we had more time.
What?
He presses something into her hand. She looks at it, confused, then looks up to see him running away.
I love you.
Diana looks down at her hands at Steve's watch. End flashback. Exterior airfield. A golden glow begins to emit from Diana, a warmth within her building. The lasso crackles with power, building up a surge of energy that explodes, runs from Diana, running down the lasso into Ares, blasting him backwards. And Diana opens her eyes.
You're wrong about them.
Ares explodes into a nasty, snarling, vicious rage. He raises his hand. A massive storm of debris smashes down towards Diana and Maru. It strikes into the tank, but Diana doesn't move.
No!
The debris combusts around Diana, unable to harm her. Diana hurls what's left of the tank aside. As Diana turns to Ares, Maru runs away. She walks calmly towards him.
They're everything you say, but so much more.
Lies!
Ares commands everything around him, bringing a massive swirling storm of debris and weapons together. He charges at her in a fury, but she holds her ground, deflects the barrage, and then, absorbing the power, she sends Ares back. Ares falls back, his helmet blown off. Diana walks towards him. He stands, creating a massive lightning bolt spear.
They do not deserve your protection.
It's not about deserve.
Diana stops, catches the massive lightning bolt in her gauntlet. The energy courses between them.
About what you believe. And I believe in love.
Ares crackles with lightning, summoning everything he can from the storm above.
I will destroy you. Then I will destroy them.
Ares sends all of the lightning at Diana. She raises her gauntlets, catching it.
Goodbye, brother.
Diana runs towards Ares as he unleashes the very last of his power erupting towards her. Diana leaps into the air over Ares' last blast. She crosses her bracelets midair. She sends the lightning back into Ares. Ares cries out as the lightning strikes him, overwhelming him. He explodes, and a huge eruption of power creates a crater in the earth, and the god of war is gone forever. As the rain falls all around her, Diana's feet land softly into the scorched earth below. Exterior airfield. The rain washes away the blackened smoke from the sky, dawn breaking through the clouds. Diana looks around, the soldiers rousing as if they were waking up from a nightmare. The better side of man returning. They pull their gas masks off. Dr. Maru has vanished. Diana gazes out over the battlefield, looking at the team, the Germans, the last of the ash swirling around her as the sun rises. The sunlight hits Diana's face. Diana looks at Steve's watch. It's finally stopped ticking. Series of shots, people all over Europe exploding in cheers. For them, the war is over. Exterior Trafalgar Square. Wonderful chaos in the square. Confetti, streamers, flags, people embracing with joy. Horns and brass bands, cheering soldiers with crowns of flowers in their hair grab pretty nurses for a kiss. Drums thunder by. Diana and Etta walk towards the massive, wondrous celebration. Diana is dressed as Diana Prince, hair up, glasses on. Etta is dressed up like everybody else, partying in the streets. They take in the joy.
You saved everyone!
Steve did that.
Charlie, Samir, and the chief, cleaned and scrubbed, wearing suits, joined Diana and Etta.
Did Etta tell you that General what's-his-name, Haig? It's Haig. He only went and made us all spies. Oh, oops. We're off to Petrograd. Oh, oops. There's a revolution going on. Even Chief's coming. You should too.
I don't think so.
Etta stops in front of a recently erected wall of war memorial photographs. Steve looks dashing, happy, and very much alive, and Diana's already fighting tears.
Behind all beauty, all wisdom, there is pain. You must take your pain and make it beautiful.
Where did you read that?
I didn't. You taught us that.
She forces a smile.
I used to want to save the world.
Interior Louvre Museum, Diana's office as before, the present day. The photograph, Diana in Wonder Woman armor and her team.
To end war and bring peace to mankind.
She contemplates the faces of friends long dead. Her eyes linger on Steve.
But now I touch the darkness that lives in between the light. Seen the terrible things men do to each other in the name of hatred, and the lengths they'll go to for love. And now I know that only love can truly save the world. So I stay, and I fight, and I give for the love I know can be. This is my mission now, forever.
Diana takes Steve's watch from her pocket, turns it over in her hands twice, and feels its smoothness. The watch has stopped, and it's been stopped since the moment Steve died. She places the watch beside the photograph. At her computer, Diana is typing an email. Bruce Wayne's name, the recipient. Thanks for bringing him back to me. Just as Diana presses send, the news alert pops up on her screen. A fire has broken out in a downtown building, people trapped. Smash cut to exterior rooftop day. Diana in her Wonder Woman armor stands atop the building and smiles. Then she leaps right at us into action. Smash cut to black. Fade in. Exterior Themyscira night. Post-credit scene. On the same cliff where Diana saw Steve's plan, the Queen stands on the shore looking out over the ocean, thinking about her daughter. A beat, and then she turns as if she hears something. Just as Vanilla rides up to her, she dismounts.
My queen.
I know. The mother box. It has awoken. Alert everyone.
Interior Penetralium night. In the center of the Penetralium, push in on the mother box. It glows.
Something terrible is coming.
Smash cut to black. The end.
Yay!
Woo!
All right. Awesome. I'd like to thank my cast for doing this, and thank you all for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.